Hello, everyone, and welcome to another match preview on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm your host for today's show. 12 months ago, this probably wouldn't be regarded as a big game, and a routine win for Liverpool would be on the cards. But for me, this fixture is so crucial to our season. I think if a defeat was to happen, it could impact our season, it could impact our momentum, and let's be honest, we'll probably never hear the end of it from Arne Slot, who still has nightmares from the defeat from September. So it's only right I brought in a special guest today to cover this huge game, and that is G from GTV Football Channel. So G, firstly, thank you for coming on the show. How are you doing today?
Come on, man. Nana, bro, we're supposed to do the other show beforehand. That was my bad, guys. So I
No, it's
apologize
all good, G.
on my behalf. But nah, man, like, nah. I wanted to been meaning to chop it up with Ozzy for time anyway,
Definitely.
people. So please, if you're over here, make sure you smash the like button, man. Let's get those subscribers up, man, and let's keep pushing. But nah, this is gonna be interesting. Obviously, I was just chatting with Enz as well
Yeah.
on his channel about the game as well. So it's going to be interesting to hear your takes on some of the lineup, some of the stuff as well. But yeah, listen, man, I'm happy to be here, man. So big up, bro. Love for
Yeah.
bringing me in.
No, appreciate it as always, man. Yeah, I've been trying to get you on the show for quite a while, man. So yeah, I'm glad
Mm.
that we can finally get on the show in one platform, and then yeah, we can chop it up today. So before we do the traditional match preview, where we do the lineups and all that stuff, I wanted to ask you a few questions about Liverpool. A lot going on right now, especially the last couple of hours, with transfer speculations, piling up, which we'll touch on as well. But what have you made of our season so far? Because I know there's a lot of sort of uncertainty within the fan base about our new coach in Arne Slot, where we weren't too sure what he would bring to the table. Is he experienced enough to manage a club like Liverpool? What have you made of his job so far at the club?
I think he's exceeded my own expectations. I can't lie. Do you know what I mean? Like I think I didn't expect Liverpool to be where they are at the moment. To be fair, I didn't expect Man City, excuse me, I didn't expect Manchester City to be so bad. I didn't expect Forest to be doing so good. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of stuff that I didn't really see. And within all of that, I just didn't think that Liverpool were going to be, what's the right word? Like as consistent as we've been this season. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I didn't know how he was going to take to the Premier League. Like I thought, like the first few games we had anyway, you're like, yeah, we should get wins regardless of the manager anyway, like Ipswich,
Yeah.
Brentford, maybe United, kind of thing potentially like that could be touch and go. But yeah, I just didn't think you'd be this consistent. But for me, the biggest thing I rate about Slot is probably is he seems more proactive for me anyway. Like I just feel
Yeah.
like when certain things are going wrong in a game, I feel like he does a bit more. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like he'll actively try to, whether it's formation, whether it's players, whatever it might be. I feel like he's a lot more proactive. And you know me, everyone like I've been called in Enzo Street just now as well. Like I'm always negative, right? But one of the main things that he always seems to do is that you see after games when he does the press conferences, he's always like, I wouldn't even say downplay it. I feel like he's just honest about the assessment of the game. So he'll
Yeah.
tell you in his own, obviously it's just his opinion, right? But in his own honest assessment, he'll tell you how he felt the game kind of went. So when he does that, like obviously without bringing former managers, but when we listen to like Klopp and it's not even Klopp actually, it's actually a lot of managers do this. You'll win a game and you'll think to yourself, bro, we were lucky, like the fact that we got away with a victory in that game, like you'll think we're lucky. The other team maybe, I'm going to feel a little bit aggrieved at not getting a point or 3 points
Yeah.
potentially. And I feel like he always just says it how it is. I remember we played against Chelsea. After that, he was like, Chelsea, like, and he's even spoken about it recently, like Chelsea were the better team. Like they played well in that game. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I like hearing that because you're not, I'm a grown man. I don't need to be bullshitted when I'm watching the same thing that you're watching. I like to think that I don't know all the nuances that he knows, but I know football enough when I see something that's maybe not so great, but we got the victory. At least
Yeah,
say it. Don't bullshit me and say, "Oh, we played fantastic. We did it." And I don't want to hear. I personally, I don't like hearing that because it
yeah,
brings it. I feel like it breeds a level of like fantasy within a fan base. And when they
yeah,
start believing all of that stuff, you almost become shocked when you lose a game. When the reality is, why are you shocked? Like this was always on the cards. Like it was always coming, but you
yeah,
maybe just didn't really want to see it. So yeah, man,
yeah.
he's done good. He's done good. He's done good.
No, to be fair, I think with Ozwrld, I find it quite refreshing. I kind of close something said because he's quite transparent in terms of how he feels after a not even a victory, even if we won the game. Like you said, the Chelsea game, he was quite clear to say that we didn't play that well. So for me, that's quite refreshing to see a manager or coach, he's not really a manager, but a coach who expresses his views and says it how it is. I feel like sometimes a bit too open with the media.
I
So I
hear
feel
it.
like he needs to just play the game a little bit and not to, like in terms of like revealing tactics. And I think he's toned
Mm,
it down to be fair. When he first started, I feel like he was talking a bit too much, especially when we beat United. Like he
yeah.
pretty much just laid out the whole master plan to how we beat them. Like we all saw it, so you don't need to spell it out for everyone to like write it down and make into a notebook. So for me, that's quite refreshing, even from a tactical point of view. You
Mm,
know, of course, Jurgen Klopp is a legend of our club. He's a big manager in our history, but he was quite one dimensional in terms of the way his teams were set up. And
mm,
tactically, there were a few tweaks. Like for example, if we were losing, then Klopp would do a 4-2-4, and then he would try and go all guns blazing. But with Slot, it's a bit more measured, it's a bit more calculated in terms of how he wants his team to set up, and it's always based on the opposition. So
yeah.
for me, he looks at the opponent rather than just thinking, "Oh, we're just going to set up a team and go all guns blazing," sort of thing. So for me, that's quite refreshing. Where he's tactically astute. And the
Yeah.
first game against Ipswich was quite evident. Kwanzaa
Yeah.
wasn't, winning aerial duels. He thought he had to take him off and bring on Konate. So for me, it shows he's a bit ruthless as well.
Mm,
And he's not going to be sentimental in certain moments. So for me, I found him quite refreshing. I have a lot of, people shout out to the viewers and like I've seen on social media as well. They're still a bit not quite. I'm not trying to please everyone, but just look at where we are right now. We're top of the league, we're top
mm,
of the Champions League, and you're still not, pleasing people. It's like, what more do you want? So, like
I
Andrew
f-
Postecoglou said, are you not entertained? So for me, it's like you've got to look at the situation. He's a new coach. He's come from
mm,
the Eredivisie. Like, look at managers that have come from there. They've hardly really made an impact the way
mm,
he has done it as
mm,
well. So I feel like as fans, we've got to be a bit more careful what we say out loud
yeah.
because you're all saying that, oh, is he? Because I know the first feedback that I got from fans was, oh, he doesn't play like Slot. Like it's not
Mm,
heavy metal football. But I'm like, it's a new coach, it's a new way of playing, it's a new era, new philosophy. So you got kind of got to adapt to new times and new ways of playing. So for me, I found it quite refreshing. Um, am I saying he's the guy right now? Obviously, time will tell because right now we're in a great position. When
mm,
the season concludes, it'll depend how many titles we win, which would be amazing. So I've been impressed with him. I know a lot of fans are still questioning. We've had a couple of draws and obviously the defeat against Tottenham in the first leg. You thought you know the house burnt down the way fans reacted
you,
to that.
you know what's mad, yeah, about that. I
Yeah,
feel like obviously he's like in an impossible position, bro,
he
because
is.
where you've obviously had to follow on from Klopp, it's like he's not even allowed to make mistakes. Bearing in mind he's lost now it's 2 games. He's lost two
Yeah,
games all season, that right? Which is mad in itself. One against the opponent that we got tomorrow, right?
yeah.
So where he's only lost 2 games, it's like man don't want to. Like, sometimes I think to myself, right, you don't even want to give this guy like even just a little bit of a
Chance.
break. Like, do you know what I mean? And so then when I'm looking, I get it obviously because we were so used to this. as you say, gung ho football, to then go to someone who is so measured, so calm, very outspoken in terms
Yeah,
of like when he talks about games and stuff like that. So it's like a bit of a shift, which I understand. And you rightly said it about, it will depend. Obviously, listen, look, he can do all of this measure stuff, but if you don't win anything, no one's going to care about how measured you are. You need to win stuff in order to appease the fans, like
yeah,
unilaterally, like so that everyone could be like, okay, yeah, fair enough, this is the guy, for us moving forward. But I just think, obviously, we'll just wait. Obviously, so far he's top of the league. There's not really much I can complain about. Obviously, yes, I can go into individual games and start doing over analysis. Fair enough,
yeah.
but as an overall, bro, he's top of everything. We're still in the semi-finals. I anybody else would rather be in our position than anyone
Cool.
else's position. I know that much. So we just got to take it how it is, man.
No, I agree, and I feel like we have to. I think what he's done really well is where he's kind of like reduced high expectations at the club as well. So I feel
Mm,
like with fans, if he came in and said, "Oh yeah, we're going to win the league," then the expectation goes through the roof. So
yeah,
he's managed it quite well. I think he's managed the players quite well. My only criticism with Arsenal would be I don't think he rotates the squad enough. So there's
yeah,
certain
I
players
agree.
I feel like are being quite overused, and during games I feel like he can be a bit cautious with bringing on substitutes as well. So there's just certain games where I feel like we've needed a bit more of a defensive focused player, and he's not really made any changes. So for me, little tweaks. But the thing is about Arnold, the Nottingham Forest game that we lost to in September, he still
Mm.
talks about it in some shape or
Yeah,
form.
bro,
So
it still goes on about it.
he's taking his own vibe. Yeah.
Do you think, yeah, I wanted to ask you just on that point you just made. Do you think the reason why he doesn't rotate the team as much is because he's still trying to like figure out what his best team is moving forward? And
Mm,
if he's got like, obviously because he's only just come, and he's not silly, he knows some of the players like from just maybe watching videos and stuff. But do you
yeah.
think like he's trying to find his version of trusted lieutenants, like how Klopp had
Yeah.
all of that? Do you think he is because he's trying to find that he doesn't want to change it up too much and maybe throw like an Endo in or throw Keller, whoever, like into the team when if he's got his trusted players, knows that
Yeah.
they can do the job that he needs them to do? Do you think like it's
Yeah.
a case of that, or you just think he's just like that in a general sense? Like,
No, I think there's an element of him not fully trusting the whole squad. So
mm,
there's certain players where I feel like they can do a decent job here and there, but he couldn't really start certain players. Like for example, Endo,
mm,
I think he made a very early point during preseason that he doesn't see him as that sort of deep playmaker that we needed. Obviously, we were trying to get Zubimendi, so that was the
mm,
profile that he really wanted. So Endo's a great player where he can fit in. Like obviously, recently he's played at centre back, he's played
mm,
DM, and he's more of a pure destroyer. Whereas Armstrong wants a deep playmaker, someone that can set the tempo for the team, rather than someone just breaking up play all the time. He wants a bit more of
mm,
a technician in that area of the pitch. So I don't think he fully trusts a lot of the members of the team, but
mm,
he knows their strengths and their skills, so he will utilize them when needed. So with Endo, if we need someone to kind of be a bit more aggressive with the pressing, he'll bring him on,
yeah,
and then and then Endo will lead that line. Harvey, I'm a little bit surprised that he hasn't had much game time, only on the
mm,
basis that he played him in the number 10 run preseason. And he looked quite good, so
yeah,
maybe he's seen a bit of lapse in his game, or maybe he feels that he's more suited playing on the right wing, where
mm,
has a bit more of a free role. And because with Harvey, he doesn't always charge down the byline, he's a bit more cuts it infield a little bit more. So
yeah,
I still think he's trying to find his, I would say his real 18 players right now. I still feel our bench is very strong, don't get me wrong, but I feel like with Quansah, for example, I think he's
mm,
rather start Endo instead of Quansah just because Quansah has shown, lapse of in terms of confidence, and I think in terms of his game, it hasn't really evolved the way we were expecting it to last season. So
yeah,
I
fact.
still feel like he's finding those key players from the bench as well. But I think
Mm,
because he's inherited such a good squad, he knows that they can still do a job for him, whether it's for a minimal impact or for certain games. Like, we had Accrington Stanley. That's the type of
mm,
game you play a Quansah or an Endo or a Morton,
fact.
who's barely played this season. So So I think he's still finding formula in terms of potential recruits, we can move on to right now. Do you see us signing anyone in this window? Because January for me has always been in the last few years an opportunistic window where
Yeah.
if a player that's been listed as our targets for the summer and someone's trying to pursue him, that's when we really go in and try and get that player. Do you see anything? I know Kvaratskhelia was linked a few days ago. I got a bit excited. I did a dedicated show for him. And next day, PSV agreed to deal with him. So yeah, that was part of my face right there. But do you see us potentially signing someone, or is it just kind of like if something arises, then the club may look into it?
Just on your point about doing the video on Kvaratskhelia, yeah, don't worry because I did a video, a whole segment,
Yeah.
like 2 3 hour video on Amarim when we were
Oh,
linked way back then. The day that we he flew to the UK or whatever it
yeah.
was, I did a whole stream, 3 hours or whatever it was. I went through. I watched 10 videos of this guy's tactics, only for us to not get him and get slumped. I said, yeah, I'm not doing this ever again. So I don't even blame you for feeling that way, man. But nah, in regards to like, I think yeah, it's the second part of what you said about it just being opportunistic. Because let's deep it for a second. Reality is, we know, me and you both here, everyone in the chat here, everyone in the Liverpool space. If we had our way, there are players that we want to upgrade on. Whatever, I don't even need to know the
Yeah.
positions. I just know
Yeah.
that we want to upgrade on some players, right? But sometimes when I think about it, the practicality of that is that if it's not opportunistic now,
Mm.
what could I realistically upgrade on that would be good enough right now for me to sign? Like we all keep talking about, like, I don't know, like what players that you might look at and might think, yeah, is
Mm.
a good player or whatever. But let's just say, as an example, I don't know, like a João Pedro. You know, people, everyone is always talking, I want João Pedro. I'm not saying he's not a good player, but is he the guy to come in and propel Liverpool up a level so much so that you're like, yeah, we're definitely gonna win the league? He's not. He's
Yeah.
not Haaland. He's not Isak. He's not, and he's
No.
still a good player. But where he's not of that level, I can understand why the club might not think to themselves, why would we realistically sign some? We've got these players who have taken us to the top of the league. And me, listen, I'm always cussing cussing the club, but I had to actually sit there and think, well, like I wouldn't really sign anybody. I'll be honest. I actually just wouldn't sign anybody because you already have the team here. It is, as you said earlier on, maybe he needs to start using a few players a bit more to
Yeah.
allow them to be able to integrate into the squad, like an Endo, maybe Morton and players of that kind. Even Trey, I would start playing Trey
Yeah.
maybe a bit more, in the Premier League because I think he's actually a good player. If he starts doing that, I think he can utilize the squad that he does have, which then gives us, and I know cliche because Liverpool never do it, but it does give us a bit more financial backing in the summer because then we can really say, let's go out and get the bad boy, whoever that is, whether it obviously not Kvaratskhelia, but let's say someone of that ilk. Let's go and
Yeah.
get that guy instead of me saying, yeah, let me sign, this guy, and then I think the other player like that, whoever that left back was linked with, I saw the other day, and I was like, is
Oh,
this
what was it?
really
That was his
El
name, wasn't
Hadji? Yeah, and I was like, is he really the guy? Like, I'm not saying he's bad, by the way. I'm not watching him, so I don't know. But it doesn't scream to me like, oh, we're gonna go out and sign Kimmich or this guy or Fonzo Davis or Florian Wirtz, where I'm like, oh no, you have to get this guy in now. Like, get him
it?
in now. That propels us up to the next level. We're sort of dibby dabbying with the players that we're trying to get. That's why I'm a bit like, just leave the team. If someone goes, then obviously we can
Yeah.
reassess. But right now, I'm easy, man. I'd rather just wait. I'd rather just wait.
No, I hear you because I feel like a lot of the fans are stating certain names
Mm,
because because they're having a good season and thinking, oh, they'll have an impact in the club. But the thing is, the key is unless players don't depart, we don't really need to add to our squad. The only area that
hmm.
I think we might need to add is our midfield, just because I
Yeah,
feel like if Gravenberch was to go, then the quality below that for me is quite a big drop.
yeah,
So that
yeah.
would be
I
the
agree with
only
that.
area that I feel like we could probably add on. But I know, for example, left back has been a position that's been, really discussed on every match reaction show where, Robertson's had a stinker and he's had it quite a number of occasions this year. So left
Mm,
back is an area that will be addressed. But is it going to be addressed in this window? Not for me. I don't think
Yeah.
the club will, unless there's someone that's opportunistic, where it's like, oh wow, this guy's come available, let's look into it. Otherwise, you were not really going to get a left back.
Mm.
Centre back, I feel like we've got. I know Gomez is out, but he'll be back in a few weeks. So we've still got our core defenders available and
Hmm.
strikers as well. Obviously, the Kvaratskhelia rumors were based on that Chiesa goes one way, and then we get, we pay money, and then we get Kvaratskhelia as well. So that led to that speculation. So that made sense in that regards. But
Mm.
do we need another attacker? Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying all of our attackers are spectacular, and I wouldn't want to
Mm.
replace them because I've been quite vocal about a certain player, which we'll touch on later on as well. That for me, he's not the guy anymore. And I've been saying it for quite a long time. But some fans, still supporting him and all that sort of stuff. But I feel like unless a player doesn't go, there's no point of us adding another
Yeah.
attacker. We've got 6, 7 attackers already in the squad. It like, and I don't mean to be disrespectful. A player like a João Pedro or
Mm.
Cunha, they're good players, but they're not statement signings for me, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. They're not needle movers. They're not going to be like, oh wow, okay. Because when the Crash Kelly rumors came about, fans were worried. I
Yeah.
saw United channels where they were like heads on on the table, they were panicking. That is the one that shakes the
Facts.
world in terms of that kind of rumor. Otherwise, you don't really need to add those sort of players. So I've always said it on my shows where January, I don't expect us to do any business, if I'm being honest. If
Mm.
something
I agree.
arises, then they might look into it. But their plans is always for the summer to try and see how the season unfolds, who's performed. They'll probably look at contractual situations and all that sort of stuff. So it remains to be seen. I just mentioned the word contractual situations. What's your take on this whole Trent, Virgil, Mohamed Salah thing? Because firstly, for me, it's doing my head in. I feel like I talk about it every single show. And there's no movement whatsoever. So
Hmm.
let me hear your take, G. What do you think's going on?
It's what you just said there, then, bro. You know when we're now 13th of January right now, yeah, as I can see on my laptop,
Yeah.
and there's nothing has changed. Like we're in the same position we was in 6 months ago, a year ago,
Mm,
2 years ago, whatever you want to say. So
yeah.
I'm just like, I'll be so. I just end up getting bored of talking about it because it was like nothing's really happening. So, and I think, yeah, almost like I feel like the three of them, two of them anyway, in terms of Verge and Salah,
Yeah.
they've just it's almost like they're playing with like a level of freedom, almost the way that they're performing anyway. Trent kind of as well, to be fair. Like I'm not gonna act like this guy's been stinky all season because he hasn't. It's just been that Man United game was obviously a massive highlight.
Yeah.
But in a general sense, I feel like all of them have just been playing with this like this kind of like freedom of what will be will be. I'm just worrying
Yeah.
about the football, and they're so tapped into the football right
Yeah.
now.
It's
You hear
true.
Salah talking about it, yeah, I want to win the league, and this kind of stuff. Even Virgil may not have said wants to win the league, but just in terms of competing, we want to be in every trophy. We want to try and do our best. Blah blah blah. It's only really Trent, but he's not said anything to
Yeah.
like at all. So that's where in terms of Trent, I do find a little bit of I find it a little bit unfair that he gets treated the way he does when he's not said a word. But yet Salah and Virgil have spoken about their contracts and still hasn't signed. So
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't be mad. That's like Ozzie now saying, yeah, 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 don't worry, man. I'm gonna buy this Bentley. Don't worry about it, guys. Like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about buying this Bentley. Thinking about buying this Bentley. Now you're doing 10 streams where you've spoken about this Bentley, etc., etc. Everyone's asking you about it, like, what the
Yeah.
specs like. What is this like? Are you gonna get leather interior? Whatever. And
Yeah.
now we're 13th of Jan, and you still ain't bought no Bentley, but you keep telling us that you're considering
Yeah.
to buy this Bentley, and you're trying to get the price down. Like, I'm like, but you keep telling us this, but nothing's
Yeah.
actually we ain't really seeing the goods. Why not be like a Trent and just keep quiet,
Mm,
keep playing your football like you're doing right now, keep performing at the level. And I'll be
yeah.
honest, once we get to the end of the season, I'll kind of worry about it. Then I'll be so on it. Like, just win the
Yeah.
league. Please leave with something. If you're gonna go, I'll shake your hand.
Yeah.
Cool, do your thing. But I beg you, just win me the Premier League and Champions League too, if you can. But the
Yeah.
Premier is the one I really, really want to get,
Yeah.
just because I'm worried about City coming back next season and doing a madness. So get me that Premier League now. sign off on a good note, and then I feel like everything will be fine. But I do think, I think one, no, I think two will sign, one will go. Yeah, two will sign, one will go. And
Can
I
I ask you
think
who that one is?
you know what's mad? I actually think the one to go is Salah, and the two to sign is Virgil and Trent. I think Trent
Okay.
potentially will end up signing, and this is all just like a whole
Yeah,
bunch of noise in the background. Salah will be the one to kind of just say, I've kind of done everything now. Like, I've scored
yeah,
goals, I've won the Prem, all of that kind of stuff. I feel like that'll be the shock. You
yeah,
think it's Trent because of all the news, but
yeah.
it'll be Salah who be like, nah, I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it a day now. Only, but I feel like he's waiting more to see what Liverpool do. I don't think it's contractual with him. I actually think he'll play this out for a lot longer, and then wait to see, are we close to winning the league? Like, if we're so close to winning the league, I can sign off on a good note, kind of thing. If we don't win the league, then maybe I'll think about potentially staying and maybe trying one more time, and stuff like that. Like, I feel like he's kind of, you know he's one of them kind of guys. But listen, what do I know? What do I know, bro?
No, it's a fair take because I keep saying this to a lot of my viewers as well. Like, for example, the recent rumors of Real Madrid placing a bid for Trent.
Yeah.
For me, I label it as that they were desperate because they haven't got a
Mm,
right back, and they
mm,
thought let's test the waters because we're in January now. Would they accept an offer? No, Liverpool completely rebuffed it and said no, we're not accepting any bids right now. So because Trent didn't go out and say anything, I agree with everything you said. It's very unfair to make him a scapegoat just because he hasn't
yeah.
said much. Like Virgil's very sort of straightforward about it. He's not he said, look, I'm focused on my football. Whatever happens with the
Mm.
contract will be. Salah's a bit more honest.
Yeah,
He'll say
he's out there. He's out there.
he'll say what is his mind, like, yeah, we're far away. We ain't agreed nothing. Like, he'll just say things like that. But then you don't see the fan base getting rattled about it. So
Yeah.
it's like one guy's silent because I genuinely don't think Trent has made a decision. That's what I feel
Mm.
like. I think, if I'm being honest, I think last summer he was seriously considering that Real Madrid move on the basis that Klopp left. So
Yeah.
he thought, who's Liverpool gonna get? And then Arsenal walks through the door. He's thinking, who's this guy? I don't know this guy. Like I don't know what
Mm.
he's really about. And I think he's been surprised by his coaching ability and how he is into the man management. And I think he's been impressed by what he's brought to the table, but at the same time, how the team's performed. So I think he's probably 50-50 right now. That's not me trying to be on the fence.
Mm.
I don't think
No.
he's decided what his next move is. So Virgil, you'd assume that he's ready to commit because he's the captain and he feels like this is his group of boys as well. Like it's his guys, isn't it? So I
Hmm.
feel like you would expect him to be, but at this stage, and I said this to my viewers as well, we can't say much. We just have to literally take a seat back and
Exactly.
just wait because with these rumors, like there was one day where they were saying Trent's staying, and the next day that he's rejected. Like, and the mood in like the fan base on social media is like ridiculous. Like the way people flip flop, it's like guys, he hasn't said nothing. This is, you know, some random guy on Twitter saying this, and then like we can make up sources and say, oh yeah, my sources tell
Facts.
me this and that. We don't have any sources other than Heinz that's in our kitchen
Hmm.
right now, so we ain't got nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? So I feel like as fans, we've got to take rumors with a pinch of salt. Just like we
Yeah.
see rumors about, we had Mbappe rumors. Like we all knew that wasn't real. So you're
Hmm.
not going to have high expectations of Mbappe walking through Anfield. It's not going to happen. So got
Hmm.
to be a bit more smart. Got to be a bit more measured. Like the way we play our football, actually, where
Yeah.
we
Literally.
don't really go all guns like go crazy about Trent's leaving because what if he does sign a contract? I want to see a lot of apologies on social media because the way people have been reckless is
Ozzy,
wild.
hear what I'm saying? I said it already.
Yeah,
I'm like you. I'm trying to see. I'm sorry. I
yeah,
and I mean I'm calling every one of these people who have
yeah,
been spending the last 6 months, and I'm talking people who are going to games, like people I chat to who go to
yeah.
games. I'm talking to the ones obviously you see on social media, talking to the Liverpool content creators, they know who they are. Like, I'm like, you can't be slagging this guy off. And then in the same breath, it's this means more. And in the same breath, it's you'll never walk alone. And the guy hasn't said a word. That's the bit that's killing me, is that he hasn't actually said anything. but yet you guys are vilifying him as if he came out and said to you, "Yeah, I want to." It's almost like when, if you remember, Steve McManaman when he went
Yeah,
to Real Madrid. That was like the season. I don't think the season had even ended, and he had made
no,
that move at the time. So
no,
you're going to like Trent's doing that. He's not even doing that. He's just playing
yeah,
football, doing his thing. He's letting the outside world, create that noise, for him instead, and then he'll do whatever, as you said, like he'll do
mm,
whatever he's going to do, whether he signs, not signs. That to me doesn't actually matter. I'm just more about, are you doing your best for the football club whilst you're here? That's all I care about. But if you want
yeah,
to go, I can't. Come on, man. Like we're not kids. Like I can't. I'm
yeah,
not gonna cry about it, and I'm not gonna. And I understand the game a lot better in terms of. I probably understand why you'd want to leave the football club. If it's Real Madrid, I totally understand
yeah,
why you want to go. We're not talking about him going to like AC Milan with no disrespect, but come on, we're
yeah,
talking Real Madrid, so I kind of get it. But if he does his best and he wins the league, like thank you. Do you know what I mean? Like we can walk away and then everyone's happy because he's done his job whilst he was here. And
yeah,
Liverpool Football Club always moves on. Kenny Dalglish, Suarez, Rush,
100%.
Gerrard, Torres. Come on, man. The list is ridiculous of the top players that we've had at this football club, and we're
Yeah.
worried about Trent. Oh, come on, man. I feel like it's a little bit unfair. It's a little bit unfair.
No, I totally agree with everything you said there because let's say in a scenario where Trent has actually decided he wants to go Real Madrid
Mm,
and he's come out with comments right now, you know, we would slaughter him for doing that. So whether he's staying or not, I find it more respectful that none of these players have said much on the basis that we're having a great season right now.
yeah.
These kind of noises are unnecessary when it comes to a title charge.
Hmm.
So let us
Hmm.
win the titles first, and then at the end of the season, if they're going to leave, they're going to leave. Like remember when Sadio Mane left as well? Like he didn't say anything about his contract situation that year. So there's situations where we have to always realize, like you probably remember the Rafa Benitez rant. That was in
Mm,
January.
mm,
We
hmm,
always
hmm,
make January that period where we say something silly and then we just get we derail. Like Brendan Rodgers did the same thing as well. He said some
mm,
nonsense. So it's like you know, for us, it's all about getting that league title. Focus on winning the league. Focus on getting the Champions League because we're in a great position for that as well. And look,
hmm,
whatever
hmm.
happens, like you said, G, whatever happens in the end happens. We have lost big players over the years, but we've managed to replace them as well. The world is not going to change. Obviously, if all three leave, then bloody hell, that is,
Yeah,
that
yeah, no, of course. Yeah, no, of course, of course.
training for itself, but we don't know. So until that doesn't happen, we can't really say much. So,
Mm,
we'll wait until due course. Obviously, when the season concludes, I'm sure we'll do another show and then we can talk about and reflect of the season and we'll reflect in terms of what has happened with these three players.
mm.
There's been a few rumors today, so
Hold on,
we'll
hold on,
quickly
hold on, hold on, hold on.
yes.
Before we even continue on, out of the three, you didn't say, or maybe you did say, out of the three, what
Yeah.
was it like? Who do you like? What do you think, in your opinion, is going
Do
to
you know
happen
what?
out of the three?
My answer has been flip-flopping on a weekly basis
Hey,
because
Ozzy, don't do the flip flop. No, we got to stay true to the decisions that we
no,
make.
no,
I write this stuff down. I'm writing like I write. I would okay. Ozzy said
no,
this. All right, cool,
I,
cool.
I I see your meme on social media where it's the guy from
Yeah,
Dragon's
yeah,
Den.
but yeah. Mark Cuban. He's always because I
Yeah, I
take notes. I'm taking notes.
so for me, I think I might just sound optimistic here. I think all three sign. I don't know where it
Okay,
is, but
okay,
I
okay.
think I think with Trent, I would have said so at the start of the season, I said Trent would go. Not that I
Mm,
wanted him to go. I just thought that Real Madrid move was just too good to turn down.
mm,
But I think as the season's gone on, we're so close to winning so many trophies. I feel like he's thinking, this could be my team in a couple of years where I captain this team. So I feel like he's probably envisioning that more so now. So
mm.
I'm being optimistic and saying all three sign. But
Okay,
you know,
okay.
it remains to
My
be seen.
Mark Cuban
But
meme is coming out, boy. Okay, you made your.
do what you gotta do. But yeah, I'll look if it doesn't happen, then we'll probably have to
No,
have an
no, no.
emergency
It's
meeting if all three don't go because do you know what's funny with the fan base as well? Like
mm,
with Trent having a couple of stinkers recently, fans are like, "Oh, we got Conor Bradley," but no offense, Conor Bradley for me is a decent right back, but he
mm.
wouldn't be my first choice.
Nope.
We have to get another player. There's no one like Trent in world football. We'll
Mm,
have to think of another alternative right back to kind of come in and do the job that we need on that right hand side. So,
mhm,
for fans to like throw the pram out, like the dummy out of the pram, for me, it's just ridiculous. Like it shouldn't really come to that until it's final that this guy has made that decision, then we can kind of express our views. But I'm being hopeful. I'm thinking we might see all three signed, but we'll see. We'll see.
We'll
We'll
see,
see.
bro. We'll see.
We'll see in due course. But one player I need to talk to you about. I kind of know your viewpoint because I watch your shows, but
Mm.
I want to say on this channel, Darwin Nunes. So
Oh, Jesus.
brother gets, I don't know, he gets a lot of like loyal fans that support him ride or die, which I don't understand personally, but maybe you can
Mhm,
enlighten me. He splits the fan base. Some fans love him, and some fans are like, nah, he's not the guy.
mhm.
I know where your stand is, but just confirm for the record, what is your stance on Darwin Nunes in terms of him being our current striker, and do you see him being the guy to lead us to future success?
In short, no, he's not the guy. Like, I'll be real. In short, nah. I think, yeah,
Yeah,
what bugs me more is what you said about the loyal fan base thing. By the way, I've got nothing against anybody who's loyal to a player. You can be loyal to whoever you want.
yeah,
Like that's that's your prerogative, right? My
yes,
issue is that when we have discussions, like whether it's here, whether it's on social media or just wherever, when we have
yeah,
a discussion about this guy, it's like you've got the Nunes glasses on or something
yeah,
because every time we discuss, well, not so much this season. This season, people, it seems like it's majority now have started to move
yeah,
towards he's just not good enough. But prior to this, oh my days, man, like the battles and the things that people were saying, I'm seeing dissertations, thesis, like on this guy, on why he's going to be a good player. And I'm like, what people are not understanding, yeah, you're not getting that if you have to explain something this
yeah,
much, surely there is something in. I'm not saying I'm right, by the way, and I'm not saying you're right. I'm not saying
yeah,
anybody's right or wrong. What I'm saying is just think, stop and think for 2 seconds, right? You've had to explain to everybody like the masses of reasons why you think this guy's going to be a baller, why he's going to come good for Liverpool finally, and etc. etc. Surely that tells you, you know what? Maybe these people have a point. I'm not saying slag him off, but I'm not saying like
yeah, yeah,
send him abusive mess. That's
yes,
too
of course,
far. Like I'm
yeah,
more just talking just him on the football pitch. Like
yeah,
when we watch this guy play, whether it was last season, the season before, this season, you can see that at this moment in time, as of today's day, this guy's just not good enough, bro. Like it's just not working with this guy in the slightest. And I don't know what more that anyone could. We've changed manager, we've changed a bit of the playing style that we play, and it's
yeah,
still not working. And I'm still seeing the excuses of like last season, it was all about the missed opportunities that he had, right? Like the
yeah,
chances he was missing were just ridiculous. He got, as Finch is saying, he got 31 GA, which is great. And those are actually really, really good numbers for anybody
yeah,
to realistically have, right? But it was the missed chances that really killed it for people. Fair enough. This season, we get a new manager in. He doesn't start the season, Jota starts, but then he gets his chance. People are now saying, oh, but he doesn't get that many opportunities. I'm like, this is the problem with someone like Nunes is that when he gets all the opportunities, he misses them. So now that he's
yeah,
not getting enough opportunities, he ain't
yeah,
scoring anyway, regardless. So I don't know what you like. Where do you place a player, like that? Like I don't understand why people are going to bat with this guy, and I'm like, I'm not even trying to like I try my hardest to hold it back, but sometimes when I think about it, I'm like, the guy is actually rubbish in terms of a
yeah.
Liverpool standard of what I think the
Oh,
team can achieve. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So
yeah,
when people are doing the whole, it's this or it's that or this reason, that reason, I'm like, guys, come on, man. Like at some
yeah,
point there has to be a conversation where you say, people are now telling me after the Accrington Stanley game, I didn't watch it, but for what people said, they want Jaden Dance to start. He's the guy who should replace Nunes, like in his position. We've got Luis Diaz. The manager has chosen Diaz over
that's
Darwin.
right.
Like we're getting all the clues, but people are still saying, "Nah, he'll come good." We're in year 3. I'm sorry, but if we're 3 seasons in, yeah, nah. I've never seen a player go from not work for 3 seasons and in year 4 he just kicks off on a madness and just does this crazy. It's not happening, man. Cut ties, sell the player, and let's just move on. amicably, and everything will be fine, in my opinion.
No, I agree, and I feel like with the people that are part of the Nunes army or however you want to phrase them,
Hmm,
this is not like a personal shot at the player. We're analyzing as content creators in terms of what we see on the pitch. There's no
hmm,
agenda. I know I watch G a lot. There's never been an agenda in
hmm.
terms of about the player. We don't know him personally. I don't really care about his personal life. For me, I'm looking at it as a football player. What does he bring to the table?
Yeah.
And as a simple eye test, the day he walked in until now, his finishing has not improved at all.
Hmm, hmm,
His
hmm,
finishing
hmm,
has literally stalled since he's come. And that has always been his weakness, which is crazy because he's supposed to be a 65/80 million pound striker that we signed that was going to really, up the levels for us. He's not
hmm.
been that guy. Do I think he's a rubbish player? I don't think he suits for this league, personally. I feel like the league
Yeah.
is too quick for him. And people are like, well, he's so quick. He's quick as an individual. He's athletic. He's chaotic in terms of how he plays. But in terms of how the Premier League is played, he's not going to find those spaces. He's not going to find those
Hmm.
pockets to exploit because teams are so stubborn in terms of their defensive setup. We play low blocks pretty much every week now. So
Yeah.
if we're not able to break down, you've got to be very intelligent as a striker nowadays. It's
Hmm,
not where 4-4-2 back in the day and you hit it long and then my guy's on the shoulder and he's going through it. It's not that kind of football anymore. So
hmm,
it's become
hmm.
more technical over there, especially in the Premier League. With signing so many players from all over the world, it's a different spectrum altogether. So for me, he's just not good enough to play in the Premier League. And I feel like if he goes to Serie A or even La Liga, I think he'd do really well there.
Yeah.
For me, as a Liverpool striker, look, the way to look at it, comparing to our greats in recent years, doesn't even like meet their levels. He doesn't. So for me, you've got to set the expectation. I'm not saying we're going to find a Luis Suarez or Fernando Torres type striker, but he's not even close, in my
No.
opinion. Like he's nowhere near it. So Accrington Stanley, it's probably a good thing you didn't watch it. There were a lot of shocking misses in that game. And they were like 6-yard shots where he's controlled it, but he's hit it over the bar, and it's just like Jalen Dan's literally come on the pitch and he's just scored literally the same range, scored the same goal. So it's like that's why the fan base is like give Jalen Dan a chance because obviously he's been out for 5 months.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, why not give him a little runner? Darwin has had his chances. Despite what people are telling you, he's had his chances. The
Hmm,
reason he's
hmm.
not getting consecutive games because he hasn't proved that he's clinical enough. Now, if you've got a left winger in Diaz who's been shifted as a makeshift striker now, that
Hmm,
tells you the
hmm.
story. The manager does not trust him enough to start Darwin Núñez. And for me, I'm not even trying to be rude. Darwin Núñez is down the pecking order. I would select Diaz is number one striker right now. I
Yeah.
select Jota ahead of him. I
Hmm.
select Gakpo over him. I select Chiesa over him. I select
But
Jalen Downs over him now.
look at the fact, yeah, that you like. We're talking about Liverpool's number 9, the guy who cost was it our most expensive signing or whatever it is, and it's like you're saying that this guy is like fourth, fifth choice, and we're not even saying fourth, fifth choice like we've got four other strikers just chilling. Like we don't have four other strikers. We've
No.
literally got two, like two actual strikers. If
Yes.
you're not including Jaden Dance, you've got two
Yeah.
strikers in Jota and Nunes.
Yeah.
Did you get what I'm trying to say? Like that's what we've got. The rest are like makeshift. He can play there. He can play there. Like you
Yeah.
said, like with a Gakpo or Diaz, and this guy's still fourth and fifth. Like, come on, guys! Like, at some point, you got to do a
Yeah.
Joe Linton with him, like, and just change your
Yeah.
position or something. If you're gonna play for Liverpool anyway, maybe
Yeah.
you're right. Maybe if he goes to like a La Liga or a Serie A or goes back to Portugal, I
Yeah.
feel like some players they just have they'll have their league, their system, their
Yeah.
thing that's like this is there's a player who that reminds me of is I think his name is Oscar Cardozo. I think he played for Benfica, striker,
Yeah.
bad boy striker for
Yeah.
Benfica. Ask this guy to move out of Benfica, it ain't happening. But he was such a good striker. But it's almost like he knew and understood the assignment of, you know what, this is my level. I can still be successful here, but Benfica is still one of the bigger clubs out there in Europe, and in the end, like in a general sense, we win titles. We could potentially go far in like a Champions League run and stuff like that. That for me is Darwin Nunes. Go to that and do that because otherwise your career is only going to be remembered for you being
Yeah.
a flop really at Liverpool. And let's be real, as much as I don't rate the player, that's not nice for you to like have
Yeah.
that on your kind of career. Do you know what I mean? Like go and have a blossoming career elsewhere. But I think he's what's going to happen is Liverpool going to win the league, yeah. And if we win the league, and he's obviously still here, he'll always have that like I won the league at Liverpool. So then trying to potentially, he might look at things and say I could either go, and I know
Yeah.
obviously you were speaking about that. I think there's like a bid or whatever it was. He could potentially go, and it's like that's good for us if we can get the money back for him, or at least as close to it. But if
Yeah.
not, he might not want to leave anyway. He might think, you know what, I can maybe scam my way to another league title or another trophy, and then I'm kind of good,
Yeah.
and then my trophy hall looks, you know what I mean, that little bit better, in terms of as an overall aspect before I decide to leave, like in years later. So honestly, man, and for me, just get him out of the club now. At this point, I just, for his own sake, because Twitter is
Yeah.
becoming a bit too dangerous for him now. I think so. I think just leave now, and he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Because I think even if he leaves at the end of the season, I feel like he can leave the club with his head held high, where
Yeah,
hopefully we'd have won the league and other trophies as well. Hopefully, so you've left in a good mark where maybe you've not had your best season in terms of stats. Because
yeah,
obviously, fans will tell you had a great season last year, but nevertheless, it's still where you've still contributed to an extent. So go on and flourish somewhere else because right now, I I, I feel like if Liverpool, you know don't part ways with the player, it's a problem. Because I
yeah,
wouldn't even want him as a squad player, and that's not me trying to be rude. I feel
mm,
like we've got to make space for the player. We highlighted it early on. We don't expect strikers to be signed in this window because there is
yeah,
no space. So players needed to buck for us to make that space. So for me,
mhm,
I think the best thing would be for all parties, he leaves at the end of the season, goes on to play in a different league, and re-kicks his career again and starts banging in the goals, and then hopefully we can sign a striker. Now, I'm gonna ask you like a dream type question. If you could sign
I
any
knew this was
striker,
coming.
who would it be and why?
Does it have to be realistic?
Too
I'll
realistic.
give
Then.
you. Okay, okay,
Give me two options if you want. If you want like the dream, and then you could give me like the realistic type striker.
okay. A dream striker I would sign is Harry Kane.
Okay,
I think he has all the attributes that you
that we
just
need.
need for
Yeah,
like for Liverpool anyway. Like, I'm just specifically, if I had to think of a striker, he's someone who can drop deep into the pockets. He can play a pass like no man's business. He's got a really good passing range, excellent finisher outside of the box. Um, he only annoys me when he plays for England because he doesn't seem to want to play as a striker
yeah,
for some weird reason. But in terms of that, yeah, Harry Kane would be like the ideal striker. Realistic, I'll be so honest with you, bro. I don't actually have one. The
okay,
only one I like is Osherman. And even him, I'm kind of like, but he'd be the only like there's no other striker that I think is realistic. I know
mm,
everyone's gonna say Isak, but I don't
yeah,
think Liverpool are spending 150 million on someone like Isak anyway. And,
no,
and I'm sure Newcastle will try and get that kind of amount for him. So honestly, yeah, there's no striker in world football right now that I look at and think I want you, and that's a part of the reason why I'm kind of calm with Jota staying where he is because I'm like, I I can't find that guy. There's no one I'm really that excited about that I can really say, you know what, top five strikers in the world. I don't know who they are, but whoever they are, I
yeah,
just don't think Liverpool are. You just wouldn't be in for them, man. And I don't know. And me, I don't really rate any of the strikers in world football. I'll be so honest with you. I don't feel like there's any who I can really say, yep, this guy's the guy. He comes in, he gets me my 25 to 30 goals potentially that I'm
yeah.
looking for. I hear Abdul saying, obviously, Gyökeres. Yes, but
I
you
have
know when
question
I'm,
marks on-
say that again.
I said I have question marks on him. I'm not
Yeah,
quite convinced with him.
yeah, same. It's exactly the same. I've got question
Mm,
mark. Like, I know everyone. Like, I know. Listen, look, guys. I'm in my 30s. Yeah, so obviously, I've seen strikers.
you've
Like,
seen
we've had
strikers,
those.
yes.
You know what I mean? Like, we've had. I'm talking to the level of like in 1 year, I'll see the likes from Shevchenko to Henri to Inzaghi to Adriano. Someone just put there
Yeah,
to even
do
ones who are like, you know what I mean? Like strikers
mm,
who are not even considered a top three striker in their generation, but
yeah,
today you would take in a heartbeat, you know, kind of thing. Right now, we are starved of real
yeah,
good strikers. And I think the only one I'd probably want to go for is Isak, but I know we ain't gonna sign him. So
yeah.
now you're looking at Marmoush, you're looking at
Mm.
who's the other one that everyone keeps talking about? Ja Pedro. You're thinking maybe Cunha can play up front for us and do a Roberto Firmino type
Type
of
role, yeah.
role. You know, I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, maybe. Like if you think so, but if you guys are mad now with Diaz and Gakpo and you don't rate them, I promise you, Cunha is not going to be that much better because they're
No,
scoring goals at least, and I don't think Cunha is going to score so many goals that's going to make you think Cunha's the guy. You're
yeah.
going to get mad at him too because he's not a Isak, he's not a Haaland, Ollie Watkins. Maybe Ollie Watkins might be someone I would think about.
Mm.
He seems like a good striker, but yeah, man, look at that. Only three strikers I can realistically name.
No,
What about
it's
you?
not bad. No, for me, it's not realistic, but it's Isak because I feel like Isak can do a
Yeah,
bit of everything, and I feel
yeah,
like because he's
100%.
quite a tall striker, but he can attack the channels with pace. His
Mm-hmm.
finishing is really good, so that would be the profile that I look at. But you're right, there's not many. I thought Marmoush would have been an option,
Mm.
but
He's going to City, innit? It looks like anyway.
yeah, he looks like he's destined to go City right now. So for me, Jokeris, I have question marks. So I don't know what it is. I feel like I know he played for Coventry, but he never played Premier League. So for me, I don't know if
Mm.
he would adapt to the Premier League like that. I don't think he's banging the goals where he's doing it at Sporting. So
Yeah,
there isn't many out there to be fair. And I'll be honest, and it sounds a bit rude. Like the likes of Cunha and João Pedro, they're good in their own rights, but it wouldn't move me if we were to sign them.
you
Like
know those good from far. You know, like over there, I don't mind watching you, and you look good over there. But I don't need you coming over here and invading my space.
yeah.
Like I'm okay. Like I'm okay.
Yeah, because if you look at our squad is very, very good. So if we're making any signings, it's got to be it'll be two types of profile. It'll be either a young player that's going to be the next guy, or it's
Mm.
going to be the guy that's established. And right now, it like any strike like Cunha and João Pedro, because they're the popular names that I'm hearing a lot from the rumor mill.
Mm.
Are they upgrades to any of our current strikers? Nunes, yes, but no offense, that's not very hard in terms of
Yeah,
this day and age. So. I don't know if Nunes was to go and we got Cunha, we got João Pedro. I don't know. Uh, It doesn't move me, so
same, same.
it's a sticky one. But what I can say is though, I can see the club doing a thing where Diaz ends up being the main striker now, and then it looks
Okay,
like we need to sign a left winger instead. But then I'm thinking, which left winger moves me? I don't
we're in the
really
same
like.
boat. You're in the
I'm on the
same.
same boat because Bash Kelly would have been one.
Yeah.
I like Rafael, but I don't see him leaving Italy because I've heard him
Mm.
say things in the past that he wants to stay in countries where it's warm climate and stuff, and England ain't that place, so he's not coming there. So that's another area where you're like, and I don't know. I don't feel like right now in world football, I feel like we sound like like old people, and I just saying back in
Yeah,
our
it's
day.
true. That's why I don't like saying it sometimes. It's true. It's true. It's actually
The
true.
level of attackers was insane, like literally
It's,
insane. I'm in the same age group as you. Like the footballers that I used to watch back in the day. I'm thinking, wow, we don't even get those type of strikers anymore. Number nine isn't fashionable now. Like you don't really get elite number nines anymore, which is a
I'm telling
concern.
you, yeah. It's like,
Mm.
for example, we had a situation where we had Jermaine Defoe, you got Didier Drogba's, the Fernando Torres's and stuff like that, Berbatovs, like
Yeah,
even like players like a Tevez, like
yeah,
who are not out and out, but they're still good enough for me to be like, I can probably guarantee that this guy, if given the opportunity, will get me like 20 to 25, consistently anyway over a period of
yeah.
time. I feel like now, like, and if we went back further, you can obviously there's all the list of like all the bad boy strikers, but now I'm saying, bruv, it's not Isak. And I agree with what you said, everything about what you said about Isak in terms of what he's really good at. I would he would be the one I want to sign, but I'm just like, bro, are we even gonna realistically go out and get someone like that. If we're not going to get that, honestly, guys, like, listen, Gyökeres might be the guy, but I'm with Ozzy. I'm still question marks over him. And the thing is, if I've still got question marks and he scored all of these goals, I just don't want him anyway. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I feel like you're just not gonna do the same anyway. Liam Delap as well. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, Liam Delap, like,
Crystal
he's all
Roma, I'm
right.
not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, like, honestly, like, I'm not, and I don't want to be disrespectful to these guys here because they're obviously doing what they're doing for their clubs, right?
Yeah,
And Liam Delap is doing a good job for Ipswich. Cunha's doing a good job for Wolves. Pedro's doing good for Brighton. I get all of that, but all of those clubs, it's those kind of clubs where it's like it's easier for you to shine, and people need. I feel like with Liverpool fans, something that we don't do enough is we need to get out of the thinking that we are still that club who haven't won a Premier League and are
yeah,
not that good, and we're still trying to work our way up to a level. We need to understand that, yes, I know everyone's going to talk about FSG, and that's a different conversation. But in terms of us as a football club, we are
yeah,
at a stage now where we're one of the better teams in Europe, top three, top five, whatever you want to say. We're in that. You know what I mean? Like, we're in that category. We're not in the category where it's like, if we finish fourth, I'm just happy that we finished fourth.
yeah.
Like, I feel
But
that's an amazing season and just having a great cup run. No, we're talking about we're trying to win the Premier League. We're trying to win the Champions League. So when we're in that position, as Ozzy said, like, if these guys are not needle movers like that, what's the point? You're just going to swap one Diaz for another, one Gakpo for another Gakpo,
yeah,
one Jota for. What's the point? You might as well just
mm,
keep the players that you've got
yeah.
and just run it and then see what happens, with those kind of guys, man. But that's where I
No,
see it anyway with these players.
no, I totally agree. Let's see what happens in terms of Nunes. And we were speaking about off air. The Nunes, apparently there's a 70 million bid that was
Mm.
rejected by Liverpool today. And I thought Richard Hughes was the guy that does the negotiations, but apparently Michael Ezra's got his ass out and he's like, yeah, I'm going to do the deal and I'm going to speak to Al Hilal and try and up the price. So that's the first offer that's come in. So there could be suggestions that they would be happy to increase the bid. What have you made of this rumor? For me, it's just come out of the blue, to be honest with you.
I mean, he must be super. If it's Michael Edwards or Richard Hughes, they must be super confident that these guys are going to up that bid. That's where I'm like, whew, don't try to play a game of poker and
Yeah.
lose. Like, because it could go either way with this. They might say, now I'm 70 million, and you know what? We don't even want this guy. We'll get someone else. If we, I don't know, man. Honestly, like, I'm what we now for, yeah, 14th of Jan now. So
Yeah.
give me 5 more days and let's see where we're at with
Yeah.
certain players and stuff like that. I think we'll hopefully have a better picture. Listen, Al Hilal, I beg, please come back in with another bid. Like,
Yes.
even if you say we'll give you 75, take it or leave it. Because then
Please.
Liverpool got a decision. Because if they say no to that, the whole fan base will turn on you. I can tell you that for free right now. Because
Yeah.
that's too good to kind of turn down. But that's good money though. 70 million. I'm just thinking about that's a lot of money to
That's a
spend, you
lot,
know.
man.
So and to be honest, that's enough actually to get Kvaratskhelia anyway, if not more
Yeah.
than enough. So
Yeah.
I can't see why you turn it down. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, man. It's a mad one.
Uh,
It's a mad one.
listen, I would just, I'll bite the hand off for that offer right now
Yeah.
because I was content with the rumor 2 weeks ago about AC Milan taking him on loan and have an obligation to pay 50 million. I was like, I'll take that as well. So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I was all for that deal as well. So for me, 70 million, that's for me, that's a no. I'm like, what? 70?
Mm-hmm,
Where do I
mm-hmm,
sign?
mm-hmm,
Like for me, that would have been like fine. Let's part ways now. But we'll see. We'll see what happens in terms of that rumor because it's just come out of the blue this evening. Another
mm.
rumor is Ben Doak being used as part of a deal to sign Bournemouth's Antoine Semenyo. What do you make of this rumor?
It's the same thing I said. One of the guys in the group football group chat said it, and
Yeah.
I was like, it's the same thing where we just talk about the João Pedro and the Cunhas. It's like,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, he's not bad. He's a decent player, but when I'm like, Semenyo, like, is that really the guy? Like, you're probably
Yeah.
just better off just keeping Doak, unless you actually believe that either Semenyo is that good that he can go like Amane, they go to
Yeah.
Liverpool and then they go upper level. If you believe that, then fair enough. I can't, you know what I mean? That's just what you believe. And you
Yeah.
also believe that Ben Doak can never reach that level. So this is a good time to maybe think about, if we can get this guy now, who's maybe ready for the next level, then fair enough. I would have gone with Embuemo instead.
Yeah.
I think he's a really, really good player. And I think
Okay.
he's a player that is ready to jump to the next level. And I think that is that team like Liverpool.
Yeah.
But Semenyo, I'm like, ah, again, you're just swapping one kind of meaty player for another kind of meaty
Yeah.
player. So is it really? It's not a needle mover by any stretch of the imagination. He'll come in to the squad. We'll have games, or we'll have a period where we get like how people get angry at Diaz for not scoring, or Gakpo for not scoring, or Nunes. He's going to be the same thing. So really, these are the kind of players that were linked to, like, I didn't even know, like, this is why I stay out of transfer business. I'll be so honest, this is why I
Yeah.
stay out of it, because I just get mad at hearing some of these names. Why am I not hearing, Alfonso Davis contract, running out in the
Yeah.
summer? Why am I not hearing that Kimmich contract running out? Like, what?
Yeah.
World class proven players. These are the guys that I want the team and the club to kind of go for. And I know it's very short sighted, and you're not gonna maybe get like a Kimmich for too long, like 5 years, 6 years. But I want to win now and
Now.
continue. And then I feel from what I've seen of Manchester City and what I've seen of Manchester United, I feel if you put yourself in a position where you can consistently keep winning, it allows for you to also get those kind of players where you can say, okay, we got Kimmich in as an example, right? You get Kimmich in, and let's say Trent does go, so Kimmich will be like a right back slash midfielder, but let's just say he plays right back. You can do that, and then it gives Bradley the time to develop
Both. Yeah.
into that player. And then when it is time to now say, oh, Kimmich is a little bit too old, etc., Bradley's already ready now. He's had the
Ready.
experience. He'll obviously come in like he does now, for certain games. He's learning off one of the better, right backs of this kind of generation. And then he can
Yeah.
kind of, move forward with that, as opposed to kind of saying, yeah, because if Trent was to go, you and I both know we're not going to get a right back that we probably rate in that kind of way. So then what do you do? So, yeah, man. Honestly, Liverpool and their transfer news honestly just infuriates me half the time.
Tell me about it. It's one of those where you literally just listen and then see what context it is. But for me, it's like, yeah, because I think we're linked to another Greek striker, which doesn't make sense. A 19-year-old kid.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, him, yeah,
Apparently
Simez or something.
yeah, I've forgotten his name now, to be honest with you. Simathas, I think his name was, or something like that. But yeah, so these are just players that have just, come out of the woodwork. So we'll see in terms of what happens. I don't expect us to sign any player in this window, but
Yeah,
Liverpool have surprised us in the previous year, so we'll see how it goes. But we'll move on to the match preview, so we can talk about our opponents. So, what have you made of Forest this season? Because I feel like they've just found a winning formula, and
mm,
I kind of see a bit of resemblance with the Leicester team that won the league. I'm not saying they're going to win the league, God forbid, but as in like in
yeah,
terms of how they're playing, and everything
mm.
just seems to have clicked at the right time. What have you made of this season, and do you see them as genuine title contenders?
The second part of that question, I'll know more in the next 5 to 6 games.
Yeah,
And I know that's a bit unfair because we're halfway through, but a team like that, I need to. It's almost like I need to just see, can you get to that side of things, and then can you continue? In terms of the first part, though, I said it on Enza's stream. To me, they've been the standout team this season. It has to be. I'm sorry, but I'm sure you did your early season predictions. I did my season predictions. I'm pretty sure none of us had Forest even in the top, probably in the top half. But if you did, it was probably about 10th at
yeah,
best. Do you know what I mean? So the fact that they're sitting joint second now with Arsenal, they've conceded the same amount of goals as us this season in the Premier League, which is even more crazier.
yeah,
They have to be, the team of the season so far. And I think they, as you said, they're doing a Leicester in terms of everything is just clicking. The way that they play is good enough. They don't even score that many goals. I'm sure
no,
they've already scored like 29 or something like that. So
yeah,
yeah, so it's like they're not even, doing a Mazza in that kind of sense. And I just think that when all the pieces fit for any team, like we saw with Crystal Palace towards the back end of last season, when
yeah,
Glasner first came in, when things just click at a right moment, you can just ride the wave. And I think also what's happened with them is sometimes a team will just ride a wave and then it kind of fades. But it's like you hit a barrier point, and then if you can't push through, you'll see them, start to drop down the table and stuff. They actually have gotten through that barrier point now, and it
Yeah.
seems like they've been able to say, no, we can still keep winning games. We can beat Liverpool, we can draw to Chelsea, we can get points at Manchester United, we can do these things. And once we keep doing it, what's stopping us from doing it in the next game and the next game and the next game? And all of a sudden now, I feel like teams then have to start setting up differently against the Nottingham Forest because they're more of a threat than you initially, kind of thought. So, yeah, man. Honestly, they for me they've been fantastic. They've been really, really fantastic.
No, they have, and they've been in great form in recent weeks as well. 6 wins in a row, so
Six wins, fucking hell. That's
they're
crazy.
in sky high form right now. So it's for me, this is a very very tough game. When I saw the fixtures come out a few weeks, I was thinking, yeah, I'm not looking forward to this one because this one for me
Mm,
is like it could, if we were to even drop points in this one, I feel like our fan base would be onto Ozwrld. You know how it goes in terms of the
mm,
reaction, but I feel like it just gives that glimmer of hope to other teams like an Arsenal who aren't doing great, but they might feel like, oh look, Liverpool's slipping up as well. So it just gives that glimmer of hope that anything can happen in this title chance. So
mm,
it's going to
mm,
be a tough game. It's not going to be a walk in the park. Now, in terms
mm,
of the availability of players, so I'm going to present the team news in terms of what I've seen online and press conference and all that stuff, and I'll mention who's available, and then me and G will do a predicted lineups for both teams. So for Nottingham Forest, Danilo made his return against Luton not so long ago after suffering a horrific ankle injury early in the season. I'm very surprised that he's even made a recovery so soon.
mm,
But good to see him back in action after a very, very horrific injury there. And
mm,
Ibrahim Traore could be a doubt. I don't think he's fit enough to play this. So he's got a hamstring injury, so he's not available for Forest. For Liverpool, and I'll be banged on about him for quite a bit. But Darwin Núñez is not available due to suspension. Joe Gomez, unfortunately, is still a long way off from returning to full fitness, as confirmed by Ozwrld earlier this morning.
mm,
But the rest of the squad are available. So the likes of Chiesa and those type of players are available for selection. So what we'll do
mm,
now, we'll present a graphic to build the lineup for the Forest team, which will do quick and easy, shouldn't take too long. And then we'll have a debate about the Liverpool team, which will be a bit more, enjoyable in terms of what we've got to say. So let's bring the lineups here. So in terms of the Forest teams, apologies, there you go.
mm.
I think the goalkeeper has to be so for me, he's actually been, I think, the best keeper in the league this season. I think he's been phenomenal
Yeah.
for Forest.
And he got the most clean sheets or something like that, like something
I
on.
think he does, yeah. I think you're right, he
Mm.
does. So
Nah,
for me,
he's top
he has
quality.
to actually let me switch their formation. They're not playing a 4-4-2, they'll be playing a 4-2-3-1, which I think is
Yeah.
similar to our setup. So we've put cells in there. In terms of the back four, who are you expecting? Is it the mainstay players that they normally have, or are you expecting a few surprises from Forest in terms of Nuno setup? Or are you even expecting a back four? Do you think he might go a bit more defensive? What are you envisioning for this matchup?
When they played us at Anfield, did Nico Williams start the game or did he come on?
I think he came on that game.
I think he's gonna start Nico at left back with Ola Aina at right back.
Yes, I've got
I
that
think.
written down as well. I think so as well. 'Cause I feel like when Nico Williams came on that game, I feel like it just changed the whole outlook. They seemed a little bit
Yeah.
more free on that side, and that led to Hudson-Odoi,
Hmm.
having a bit more freedom up there. So for me, I think you're right. I think that will be the selection for this one. In terms of centre back, Murillo is available. So Murillo and
Milenkovic.
Milinkovic have been fantastic for Forest.
Milenkovic has been so good, man. I
He
really like his performances. I can't lie.
he was good at the Euros as well. I remember
Yeah.
him in the Euros. He was a really good player. So I
It's
think,
crazy when you look at it, like you look at that back line, it's not a
yeah,
bad back line, like when you actually think about it. Because
yeah,
you've got Nico Williams, who's comfortable both left and right back. Ola Aina, same thing, left and right
yeah,
back. And then you've got two centre backs who they're obviously nowhere near this level, by the way, people, so they
yeah.
don't get mad at me. But they're like a Van Dijk and Kanate in terms of they're both
Combination.
kind of rock solid at what they do. Like they're
Yeah,
just solid at what they do, kind of thing, in terms of Murillo, he
Yeah,
can play a bit more out of the back, in terms of he might try to dribble a bit further forward with the
yeah,
ball. But Milenkovic is just he's the one, you don't want to get into 50-50s with
true.
that guy at all, bro. So, yeah, man,
So
100.
true. No, I agree with that. I kind of like that Vidic type defender where
Yes, that's it. Vidic. Yes,
he's
Vidic.
going all like physical, like he'll just throw his head in the way just to make any blocks. Like he's that type of committed defender. So yeah, they're gonna be very very difficult to break down. Even from our point of view in terms of corner kicks and set pieces, it's not gonna be easy to
Mm,
try and get one over them. So we're gonna have to find different avenues of trying to break in the deadlock in this fixture. Uh, in terms of double pivot. I think a shoo-in would be Elliot Anderson, who they signed from
yes,
Newcastle. But the big
yes.
debate will be who starts alongside him because I know it's generally Dominguez, but Yates
Dominguez.
is someone that has played against Liverpool in previous occasion, and he's been a bit of a how can I say nothing? He's been a bit of a prick on the pitch in terms of his antics.
I would have said a thorn in the side of Liverpool, but yes, a prick is the right adjective.
A nice word
Um,
to
it will definitely be Anderson. I think Anderson has to play. I think
yes,
he gets them kind of ticking in terms of on the ball in that midfield.
yes.
I I think he's gonna go with Yates.
Mm,
I just think that maybe not Dominguez. Maybe like Dominguez is someone because Yates is gonna pick up a yellow card anyway. We know that much.
yeah,
So because he knows he's gonna pick that up, I'd rather you be bringing you on a Dominguez as opposed to bringing on
yeah.
Yates, who might cost you later on in the game if you're losing. So I would go with Yates. I
I
mean,
think I think it'll be Yates. No, no, I agree with you.
yeah,
I think Nuno Santos would go for Yates on the basis that he's going to be disruptive to Liverpool. So in
yes,
terms of like our momentum, you know, whoever plays number 10 is going to have a very important role into the how we press from the front. So he's going to be the guy that literally sticks onto our number 10 or our advanced midfielder in transition. So for me, you kind of need those type of players to just disrupt a technical team like Liverpool to stop the
mhm.
flow into the how they play. So I think it'll be Yates. I think he will start in this one, and I think the advanced three is pretty much a shoe in terms of who starts. Or do
You know
you
what's
see a
crazy?
surprise?
Remember, no. Like I think the three that you're gonna put there is the three I was thinking of.
Yeah,
But you know what's crazy? He didn't start Alanya and Hudson Odoi
yeah,
when
didn't
we
know.
played them. This is what I'm saying. Like he didn't start Nico, he didn't start Alanya, and he didn't start Hudson Odoi. So I don't know, like where does he go with this team? That's crazy to even think that Nottingham Forest have got choices like this to be talking about. But
You're right.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
say that he's gonna play the quartet. I'm gonna say that for now. I
yeah.
think he starts off with them this time.
It's expected just because of their
Yeah,
form and how they're playing right now. But you're right.
yeah,
I'm looking at the lineup that played against us in September. They
yeah.
had
Who do they
Elliot
have? Yeah, who do they have?
They had Ellie Anderson on the left. They had Dominguez on the right. So I think that was to stop Diaz from having any influence on that side. Gibbs White number 10, Chris Wood up top, and they had Ward Prowse and Yates as a double pivot.
Ward Prowse is the one. Hmm.
I forgot about him to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's the same. That's why I'm like, there was one player missing. Hmm. Maybe. Oh, geez, God, this is hurting my head. Okay. So sorry, did they play a back three in that
They
game?
played a back four, so it was Alex Moreno at left back, which seems like a surprise because he's quite an attack-minded fullback. But it was him, Murillo, Milinkovic, and Ola Aina on the right-hand side.
Okay, so I'll keep this back for five, with the
Yeah.
goalkeeper obviously included. It's the okay. Elliot Anderson's gonna play,
Okay.
but why would he have? Okay, I see why he would have done that because he knows Liverpool like to progress through the middle. So when you've got two central players playing out wide, naturally that's what they're gonna do anyway. Is kind of make the game a lot more compact in the middle. So okay, I get it from you. Flipping on, you're a very smart man. Um, okay, I think he's only going to start one of Ola. I keep saying Ola, Elanga, and Hudson Odoi. I think he's only going to
Yeah.
start one of them, and I think the one he'll go with is Elanga.
I don't know, yeah. I was thinking that as well. I think
Yeah,
he'd rather have Hudson Odoi come off as like an impact sub, and
yeah,
especially with our right back area not being so solid in recent
Hmm.
games, I feel like he wouldn't really want to exploit it in the first half. I think it'll be where tired legs might have a role to play, and that's when
Hmm.
you bring on a Hudson Odoi to really cause havoc as well. So I'm with you on that one. I think he will start. Number 10 has to be Gibbs White, right?
Yeah, yeah, 100%. 100%.
So
He's
who
been
would
good this
start on the
season.
left for Forest if we're not going with Hudson Odoi?
Okay, so Elliot Anderson on the left, and then Ward Prowse in the middle.
I'll just write one person. I'll swap them over.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
yeah.
interesting.
I'll say Ward if he's fit. Well, you said yeah, he wasn't one of the players
He's
that
fit.
you know.
He's available, so that makes
Yeah,
sense as well.
I'll
Because
go.
that makes sense because you've got Ward Prowse who's industrious, but he's got a good passing range, so you get a bit of both in terms of the middle of the park.
Exactly. Because if you've
Mm,
got those two in there with Gibbs White, who obviously helped do the job of dropping in and coming
yeah,
back, getting forward, I think he helps because he's basically a third man in midfield, but will sometimes appear as like a striker
yeah,
at times. I see him, he does like the Lampard role. That's the kind of role I always see him in.
yeah,
Um, and then if Elliot Anderson can play that role on the left again, at least that way you can still make the game compact because then I'm looking at it like this. If, for example, Elliot Anderson keeps tucking in and is trying
yeah,
to close off the central lanes, Nico
yeah.
Williams can do that left hand side by himself. I
So
reckon he can keep
he'll
getting,
come on this side. Yeah,
yeah, he'll just keep going up and down, not a problem. They can also then form into a back three, and then it's almost like you've got wing backs with the back three of Olaena, Milenkovic, Murillo, and then Nico Williams, Alanya as your two wing backs, so to
yeah.
speak, and then the three in midfield, and then as you put there, Chris Wood up top.
Do you know what I can see as well? This might sound. I feel I'm going to do some sort of Pep Guardiola type flex right now. I
No, no,
I
go
can
on, go
see
on.
I can see them doing this like a 4-2-2-2. So you got those kind of banks because what will happen is
Mm,
these two guys will literally hover on that flank, but then you'll have these guys covering their back. Does that make sense? So if
yeah,
Ola
yeah,
Aina's
yeah. I
over
get you.
here,
I get you.
he's over here, and then Elanga, because Elanga has played a bit more inside as well at times, and I feel like on the counter, he'll be the guy that takes the ball on and then leading it on to Woods to finish. So Gibbs
Mm,
White and then Anderson just being those box to box type players. So if they need to drop deep, they can drop deep in that kind of position. So it ends up
mm.
being where it's a back four, and then you've got these two guys in more adventurous positions. So
It's actually,
the
and it's crazy because you say that, yeah,
yeah,
which actually looks like that could potentially be something that they do. And I'm just looking at it. Ola, I keep saying Ola, Elanga, because
yeah,
he's so quick and he can make the runs. Obviously,
yeah,
Wood, by the way, he will run the channels as well. But
yes,
Elanga's so quick, I reckon he'll be able to stretch us in a way that if you keep doing that in terms of playing the ball over the top or in behind and stuff like
yeah,
that, it's gonna cause us problems. They've got a pretty decent team when I think about it. Off the top of my head, they got
yeah.
like options like everywhere where you're like,
Very
this is tricky.
flexible, which I didn't kind of expect, but because we're
Mm,
trying to break it down tactically, they've got players that can. It's not just about players playing in different roles. It's about how they move into those roles during the game. Like that.
yeah,
That's the flexibility in terms of how they go up against 16, and that's probably why they've been so robust and how they've been so difficult to break down. So
yeah,
Alanga's going to be key in terms of handling. And Gibbs White, like he's been playing, I think the form of his life right now. He's been in
yeah,
such great form, scoring goals, and he scored against his former club Wolves, and he enjoyed himself in that one in terms of his
yeah. Sorry,
celebrations.
yeah, yeah.
So, thi- yeah, this is not an easy team, and some fans will be like, "Well, look, on paper, they're not. It doesn't seem like star players, but sometimes it's not about having star players. It's about having the right blend of players that work well for a system. And I feel like for this system under Nuno Santos, you can see why they've been so hard to beat. You can see why they've conceded as many goals as we have. They haven't conceded that much.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be
No, I
very,
agree.
very interesting.
I
So
like I like that team for Forest. But listen, for all
yeah,
I know, they're gonna go to a five at the back, and
yeah,
do you know what I
exactly.
mean? All of a sudden, just change it
Yeah,
up.
but so okay, we'll move on to Liverpool now. So
This one's interesting.
in goal, Allison or Caleb, and I'm only saying that because it should be Allison, but I've heard some fans not be too impressed with Allison recently, and they're like, maybe Caleb should get a chance again. What's your take?
Let me ask you: do you think that Allison or Keller should be in goal?
I would go for Allison. I think for this magnitude of a game into the first against second, I feel like Allison just has the experience that we need to kind of get through the lines. And I know Allison's capable of having these moments where he's producing blunders or he's a bit complacent in terms of releasing the ball and stuff.
Mm,
I feel like with these type of games, he's normally quite screwed on, especially when
mhm,
it's high intense games and it's games where we need to get the win. I think teams against, that are not really troubling us, or if we've got like a 2-3 lead, I feel like that's when he gets a bit lazy or just loses a bit of focus. So I'd personally go for Allison, but
yeah.
let me know what you think.
No, I just wanted to hear because everyone has been doing what you said, so I'm just
Okay.
trying to figure out like with Kelleher. Listen, he came in, he did his thing,
Yeah.
but we know that Ali is Ali. Like I just don't see a world where this season anyway. Sorry, I just don't
Yeah,
see a world where you're gonna say I'm gonna pick Kelleher over Allison, and
I
I just
agree.
feel like a lot of people are not too happy with Allison recently, and I can understand to a certain degree because
Yeah.
it does look like the Martinez goal could he have done better? Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a bit whatever. And there's been other moments as well. I think the 6-3 against Tottenham, maybe some of the goals. And I get it, but
Yeah.
Allison's Allison, bro. Like, come on,
Yeah.
man.
I
We
agree.
gotta just leave it
I
there.
totally agree. Left back, who would you go for?
Simicast.
Go for Simicast. Do you think Arne Slot would go for Simicast?
I'm when's our next match after this?
Saturday. We're playing Brentford away.
Away, shit. Um, okay, then I know Simicast played 90 minutes against Accrington Stanley,
Stanley. Yeah.
but was that like it's Accrington Stanley, like, so was it? It's not as high as intensity as like
No.
Premier League game. You know what? I think he's gonna go with. He's gonna go Robber. He'll go Robber. He'll go
Yeah.
Robber.
I think the positive from Simicast's performance was that he looked a lot fitter in that game. Because I feel like
Okay,
in the midweek game against Tottenham, he looked very rusty. So for me, he's found that gear again. But I think because Robertson's got that rest
mm,
and this is a very important fixture, I think he'll go for Robertson. But I think Simicast will start against Brentford. That would be my
yeah.
prediction for the upcoming game. But Robbo at left back, Trent, or are you on the Conor Bradley camp as a lot of
You know
fans
I'm
are
not in
going?
that. You know I'm not in that blooming camp. Listen, he's a good player and I do rate him
Yeah,
um as a player, but it's Trent, man. It has to in a game like this, as you said, this kind of magnitude, you kind of want to play your kind of trusted lieutenants in this type of game.
I agree. Obviously, Virgil will start,
Yeah,
but who will be his partner in crime? Will Canate return to the lineup, or would it be a makeshift Endo in there, or Quansa maybe? Who do you think would go in?
I think he's gonna go with Kanate because as long as he's fit, he'll
Yeah,
want to play him. But he has looked leggy himself recently in terms
yeah,
of
I
we
agree.
saw the game Manchester United, no Spurs when he came on.
Yeah,
I thought he was poor. I was like,
he,
what is
he,
going on?
he's
Getting
terrible.
bullied and stuff like that, and he's got the strap on his
On
knee
his
as well
knee.
that I saw.
Yeah,
So listen, I think him just like Jota, if they're available, just play them because you never know when you might see them again. So just
yeah, I agree.
use them while you can.
I agree. In terms of double pivot, are we going for our strongest pair in Gravenberch and McAllister, or do you see any tweaks in that part of the pitch?
I think he goes Gravenberch, McAllister. Yeah, I think he goes those two.
McAllister. I agree. I think we have to go for our strongest player, and I think McAllister's been in really good form in recent weeks as
Mm,
well. So I think he'll be very important in this game. I think we need his passing range to be, on top because right
yeah.
now with this low block team that we have against Forest, it's going to come from him in terms of setting the tempo and in terms of his forward passing, which is I'm a big fan of. I feel like he needs to do that a little bit more just
Hmm.
to kind of like open up gaps because right now we can't overly rely on our wingers too much because I feel like with Salah or Diaz or Gakpo, who have players on that side, they normally cut in quite a bit as well. So it'll be interesting to see how we set up in that number 10 role. Who do you think will go? So Bozai was ill for the last a week or two, but he made his
Hmm.
return against Accrington. He only played one half, but has been training, so he should be in contention to start. Would you start Sabozlai or would you go for a Jones or maybe even an Elliott in this game?
I would start Zabozla. I think that midfield battle that we spoke about with Forest, I
Yeah,
just think that they're going to try and make it real dirty for us in there. Whoever they play, whether it's Yates, whether
yeah,
it's Ward-Prowse, Dominguez, whoever, they're going to try and have a real battle. And he helps, in my opinion, with that in terms of someone who's a bit smarter in defensive transitions. And I feel like that's where his energy as well. We're going to need that. And if you're saying he only played one half against Accrington Stanley, again, because it's Accrington style, it wasn't as high. That's like a friendly game behind closed doors, kind of,
yeah, that's
in
true.
terms of the level of the team that you're playing. So, yeah, I think he should be good enough to start this game, and yeah, good to go.
Don't think we need to debate on the right wing position there.
Oh no,
But the left wing and up top one, that's always a debate every week, I think. Who would you start on left and who would you start up top?
how many minutes did Jota play? Do you know?
Jota, I think he played the full game. I don't think he got substituted from what I remember. I think he
Oh,
played.
okay,
Yeah.
that might.
Let me double check that actually.
I
I don't.
would have gone with Jota up front with Diaz on the left.
Yeah.
But if you're saying I didn't know that he played the full. But he did say that he's ready. I saw now. Listen, he did say that Jota is ready to play 90 minutes, but that doesn't mean he's going to.
Yeah, he didn't get substituted. It was Trent, Endo, Sabozan, and our young kid, Rio and Gomorrah that got substituted. So we only made five substitutions there, but he wasn't one of them. So he played the
Did
full
Diaz
90.
come? Did Diaz come on the pitch?
No, Diaz didn't come on the pitch. It was
Okay,
Chiesa that came on. He came on as a halftime sub.
okay, then it will be Gakpo and Diaz. I think it will
Yeah,
just go running
yeah,
back those two.
I think so as well. I think that game for Jota was more so trying to regain that fitness, but I feel like
Yeah,
also I'm putting Jota there. I think yeah, Diaz didn't play any minutes at all, and I think Gakpo was rested as well. He wasn't involved, so I feel like yeah, that would be the automatic selection there. So that is our predicted lineup. So feel free to drop a comment, let me know what you guys think. Have me and G got it right, or would you, play someone else? Would you play Kelleher instead, or would you give Endo a chance after some decent cameos in that centre back position? Feel free to drop a comment, let us know. In terms of score prediction, G, what are you going for?
2-2.
2-2. Okay.
I think. Yeah, 2-2. 2-2. I've been thinking about it all day. So
Okay.
yeah, I think it will be 2-2. And it will be one of those, like, it will just be too tough. I just think that we won't have enough to get the victory, in my personal opinion. Obviously, I hope we do get the victory in the end.
Yeah. No, I agree. Okay, in terms of my prediction, I think we'll just nick it. I think it's going to be a very tough game. I feel like I can see us scoring very late on. So I'm going
Mhm,
for a 2-1 victory. I think it's going to be a cagey affair. I don't think neither team will be very aggressive in the first half. I feel like
mhm.
second half is where, whether it's through a counter attack or a mistake that will open the gates, I think that's when you start seeing the goals come through, and then hopefully we'll get the crucial winner in the end. But it's very hard to predict because I feel like there's such a well-oiled machine right now
Yeah.
where they're very hard to break down. Not a lot of teams have done it this season, so I'm going for a 2-1 prediction now in terms of goal scorers. Let me think.
Oh, it's not go to here. I think. Also.
I'd go for Diaz and Salah for Liverpool, and I think Gibbs White might score for Forest. That would be my goal scoring predictions there.
Oh yeah, you said 2-1.
Two.
Yeah, I agree with the Diaz and Salah. I think those
Yeah.
two. But then I will also go with Wood to score twice.
Hey, that's a big shot. That's a big shot.
Wood to
Let's
score twice, and it's gonna just you what will then start happening is then people are gonna be like, oh my goodness, we should sign Chris Wood. He's so much better than Darwin Nunes and etc. etc.
I
So
hope not. I hope not.
yeah, and that's the point. Yeah, it's like, but I know how this fan base, their mindset, I just know how it
Yeah,
works. So
I hope that's not. I mean, like, this was a good striker, but yeah, like we're talking about Liverpool Football Club, so
yeah,
I hope that agenda doesn't start running over the weekend. But yeah,
yeah.
we'll see. We'll go through the comments. Big up to everyone for sending the comment. I can see there's a lot there, so I'm going to try and go through them as quick as possible. It's very late right now, so I'm going to try respect G's time as well. So I'm trying to go through them together. So Football with Ends says, big up, bro. Big up Ends as always. Please subscribe to Ends' channel as well. Strong support this channel, of course. Steve, big up says, let's go, champ. Let's go indeed. He says, welcome to G.
Big up,
Um,
man, Steve.
Big up Daz says, big up Ozzie, G, hop off as well today. Big up yourself, Daz.
Big up,
Appreciate you
Daz.
coming on. So this is Steve's lineup. So he's gone for Becca, Trent, Ibu, Van Dijk, Simicas, Mo, Dom, Mac, Ryan, Jota, and Gakpo. Sit deep, play counter attack. Why? Forest home side, they need 3 points and have to attack. Take advantage of them having to attack. Fair enough there,
You
Steve.
know, just on that, by the way,
Mm,
um, I don't agree that they need the 3 points.
no, they
I don't
don't.
think they, yeah, I don't feel like they see it that way. I still think that they're gonna look at this game as like a free hit
Yeah,
because the reality is it's still Liverpool. Like as much as
yeah,
I'm saying 2-2, it's still Liverpool at the end of the day. So
yeah.
I don't think they come into this thinking we need to get 3 points off of Liverpool. It's just more like just do your thing, see what happens, and then you take it from there. But they're in a win-win situation. Win the game, obviously everyone's like, oh my goodness. Draw the game, everyone's still going to say the same thing. Lose the game, we expected you to lose. It's Liverpool. Do you know, like they're not really in a lose situation
Uh,
anyway. So it's a free hit.
no. It is a free hit. And I think even if they got a point, I think that's a great result for them.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it'd be, obviously it depends what Arsenal do over this match week as well. But yeah, for
Mm,
me, they'll be piling up the pressure even more. So no, for me, it's not gonna be easy. It's not going to be easy at all. And I agree. I don't think they're gonna go for the win, but they're gonna try and make sure we don't get anything out of it. So,
yeah,
whether it's a
yeah.
point apiece, that's what I'm sure they'll settle for. Nick says, all right, all right, all right. So I'm thinking of Kevin Hart when he's saying that out
Yeah,
loud.
that's the
So
same thing I thought.
look at yourself there, Nick. Uh, Steve's calling Nick the United fan. I don't think Nick's a United fan. Nick's been on my channel quite a few times, so he's like, nah, never United. Yeah, definitely not.
No, no, no. Silly.
Um, Steve saying the only fantasy FSG spending 500 million to spend the year. That is a wild fantasy, to be honest with you, fella. That is not happening.
Never.
Steve saying allegedly Edwards has turned down a 70 million offer. Yep, we spoke about this earlier on. Sheep fan base are losing their heads in Twitter spaces. Oh, me and you been on show for like an hour and a half, so we don't even know what's going on in terms of Twitter spaces. But if fans are losing their marbles, then I don't know. I feel like me
Twitter
and G
Spaces
will.
is a cesspit, bro. Like it was a cesspool, should I say? Sorry. Don't even in like I've stopped going. I try not to go in
Yeah,
them too much because it's just I don't even understand it half the time. I'll be so honest.
yeah, it can get a bit toxic there.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
feel like me and G went on there, we'd probably have a celebrational type space there.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
70 million in the bank, so
Yeah.
different strokes for different folks, I get, but we'll see. Um, Steve says Anna had come in as Klopp number two after the title win to replace the Ford Linders. Anna helps Klopp to win more titles and Champions League trophies from. But the thing is, Arne Slot was, new in his career. He was trying to make a
Mm,
name for himself as a first team coach. I'll be honest with you. I don't think no one aspires to be a number two. They've always got
yeah.
dreams of being like a coach, right? The main coach. So, you know, in hindsight, yeah, I guess that makes perfect sense. But in reality, I don't really think that was ever an option for Arne Slot. And the way he carries himself as well, I feel like he knows he's the first team coach. I don't feel like
Mm,
he would be a number two elsewhere. So that's just the
mm.
vibe I get from Arne Slot anyway. Um, let's have a look. Nick says Liverpool and Arsenal should go for a proper striker. We spoke about this earlier on. There aren't many out there. And it's funny, the Arsenal fan base are going crazy. Oh, why haven't Kroenke, helped and signed this striker? But the thing is that who's there? You've got to really break the bank to try and get a top striker, and there aren't many available. So
Hmm.
that's why they're stuck with Kai Havertz for now. Let's have a look. Steve saying even Stevie Wonder can see what players are needed and needed upgrading, i.e. Robbo, Simicast, Endo, Hink out, and he's gone for Hincapi, Hatos, Wimendi in. Arnold wins the tower in April. Those kind of moves unfortunately don't happen in January.
Yeah,
They,
yeah, not at all.
they might do on FC25, but in reality, it's not happening. So I'd
FC.
love for those players because Hato is a guy that I really like, and I've been vouching for quite a while. G. So for me, he's a player that I really like, but I don't see him as a January signing. I would like to see him as a summer signing, but who knows?
Yeah,
We'll see what happens in the
same.
future.
Same.
Uh, Dara Bill says you assume that we won't incur any injuries. That's a dangerous assumption. But I feel like we have the squad depth this season to
Mm.
manage those kind of situations. Obviously, if we've got like a volume of players that are out injured, every team suffers, right? No, no, even Man City, they've lost one player, and look how they've like crumbled under the pressure now. So that's just natural. That's just part and parcel of football nowadays. So for me, I don't
It's
expect the club to sign players for the sake of it. It's always strategic in terms of who comes in and who goes out. So I
it's
don't see
more.
it being how it happens.
No, no, I 100% everything
Mm.
Ozzy said, and I think just to caveat that, it's more about. I think fans are more concerned about the quality than the quantity
Yes.
because we've got the players anyway. Like, there's no way you could come on. We've got four centre backs, you've got two left backs, you've got two right backs, six attackers. Like, I don't know what else. You know what I mean? Like, what more can you even in a normal season? Just or in just an everyday season, Liverpool have more than enough players to fill in every single position. It is just about quality over the quantity. So yeah.
I agree. I definitely agree with that one. Steve said FSG propaganda machine is doing overtime again by linking Liverpool to cheap Gumtree buys, i.e. of left back, young Greek striker, Simicast's cousin, etc. Let the PR machine roll right now because I don't think any of us have high hopes of those players coming in. It's just rumors right now. So
Yeah.
it's all paper talk at the minute. So can't really say much on that. Steve says sell Jones, Elliott, bringing Dibblings with Menti. I don't see that happening, to be fair. Steve says Ozzie saying FSG plans are for the summer. What summer? What year? What did cheap plug FSG do last summer? Look, man, I got high hopes for Richard Hughes. I'm joking. For me, he's a fraud, but I'm hoping the club can do something in the summer. Like, I like to be proven wrong. So there's no evidence to suggest that Richard Hughes will do something right now. But look, we all know how FSG move. It's always the summer. That is the where all the hard work goes. That's where all the numbers and all the data metrics are calculated. That's when they start recruiting the players. So it's not going to be on January. It's very, very
No,
unlikely. I feel like
yeah,
as fans, we need to make sure we can't. Look, let's lower the expectation because it's not going to happen. So,
facts.
uh, NC, I can't redirect to you. Oh, I probably haven't sorted my settings out, but yeah, I'll try and fix that next time. But big up ends as always. Um, Steve said FSG to announce the contract extensions this month by staggering the announcements. Okay, well, I don't know if that's going to be the case, but look, if all three get announced, then I'll be happy. But we'll see. Um, Abdul said hi, Ozzy G and chat. Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum to you, Abdul. He says, how are you? All good, thank you, Abdul. Hope you are doing good as well. He's saying, bless up to the Almighty. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. We need to beat Forest. You never walk alone. We certainly do.
Hmm.
Ravi, big up. Ravi as always said, big up, smash the likes up and subscribe, big up reviews, and he's agreed to you from a previous point. Abdul has said we need left back, right back, DN number 9. We do, but it's not going to happen this window.
It's not gonna
Definitely
happen
not.
this window. Yeah.
Abdul says, would you sell Downers in January? I would have taken 50 million. So, for me, 70 million is a no brainer. I'm assuming,
Listen,
like, let's assume these rumors are true. it's probably on the basis that Edwards knows that they're willing to spend more money. Like if the
Mm.
opening over 70, he's trying to think from a business point of view, let me get more money out of them. But sometimes when you're a bit too greedy, it can fall apart. So I'd be happy with 70 if I'm being brutally honest. But you know,
Listen, I would have taken just a loan for him to just go on loan with no obligation to buy. Like, as in, I didn't need the obligation. That was just a cherry on the top moment. All right,
yeah,
great. Because if he goes on loan without an obligation but does really well on loan, they might just want to buy him anyway.
it's
And
true.
you might even get more money from that because when you start adding the obligation to buy it, usually
Yeah,
there might be a fixed price on that. This one might not be a fixed price if he just does well, but obviously you're taking a chance on him doing well and potentially someone coming into him. So
it's so true.
listen,
It's so true. Finch Streams LFC, big up yourself. He says any two of the three would be good business in my opinion. Fair enough.
mm,
Ravi has a question. Would you have Downs on the bench for Forest? I certainly would. With Nunes being suspended, it leaves a
mm,
space. So in terms of attackers, we'd have Chiesa, Elliott. I would put Downs there as a third attacker. What would you do, G?
yeah. I'm just trying to think how many players you can have on the bench, but yeah. If there's space, like
Yeah,
there would be in it because if Nunes is going to just take his spot
suspended.
in the
Mm.
thing, yeah, 100%. I'd give him the opportunity. He came on actually when Nunes got the winner last time when we faced them at the City Ground last season.
Yeah.
He actually came. I'm sure he came on in that game. I'm sure he did.
Mhm.
So why not again? Why not again?
I think it'd be a good option to be fair, and I think he'd probably do better than Nunes. But look,
He
don't
definitely
go
did
at
better than Nunes. Definitely.
Stream says Darwin had 31 GA last season on the clock. I just don't think he works in the slow build up slot team. Klopp wanted chaos and Darwin provided chaos. He's only not a good player this season. Do you know what's funny? A lot of fans thought with a more calm, measured approach, we might see a better Darwin in it, but that
He
never
just got worse. He actually just got worse, which
it
is
really did.
hilarious.
It really did. I'm not saying Darwin isn't good enough for LFC. He played better in Italy, Spain. Yep, certainly agree with that one.
Mhm.
Um, Finstream says Isaac was this season's Darwin at every other club he was at before Newcastle. I would say he was that bad. At Real Sociedad, I think he was good. So I wouldn't
Yeah,
agree with that one, to be honest with you. The only thing with Isak is basically he's got a bit of he's a bit injury prone at times. He does pick up a lot of injuries. That's the only
mm,
fault. I think from a technical point of view, I watched him for the national team of Sweden. I've seen him at Sociedad. I've always been impressed with him. And I feel
mhm.
like Newcastle, he's just hit a different gear where I don't know, he just looks a bit more free in terms of how he's playing. He's a bit more expressive. He's attacking the channels a lot more. I don't know. I feel like he's got Liverpool number 9 written all over him, but I don't know if it's gonna happen. To be fair.
These dreams. Like I sit there and think, oh, it would be so nice. It would actually
It
be
would
so
be.
nice.
But it shouldn't be a dream. This is the crazy thing.
I know. That's
He's a
the
Premier League player. Like that shouldn't be out of bounds. But yeah, it's crazy times right now. Unfortunately, um, let's go through some more comments. Abdul says Nunes can't handle Liverpool pressure. That could be a point as well, because
mm,
every club is different. I always feel like with some players they might be good at different clubs, but when it's Liverpool, the
yeah.
pressure is intense. So yeah, it's a point there. Eddie's football waffle, big up Eddie. He says, Bogey team, Forest up, popcorn time. Imagine they do the double over you guys. That is not going to happen. We're hoping. So yeah, let's not put the
Not
energy out
happening,
there,
mate.
please.
Yeah,
Uh,
not like that. Don't
Eddie's
do
saying,
that.
jump in a light, bro. Big up yourself, Eddie. Uh, Eddie's saying, I think it's in reference to your point earlier. He said, Kane seems past it now from a Prem level. I still feel like he could do a job at Prem level, if I'm being honest.
Let's put it to you this way: if you was to put him into any team, just say in the Premier League, or just compare him to any of the other strikers, I'm sure he's better than Cunha, Pedro, Hoyland. I don't even know what striker Chelsea used, but whoever that is,
Yeah,
Arsenal, Shy Havertz. Like,
yeah,
bro, he's easily better than everybody, to be honest with you, outside of Haaland. And
I agree.
you'd probably even argue he might be the better version, but it's between you're just splitting hairs between the two players.
Thing is, you get more from Kane anyway because it's not just you're not just
Yeah,
getting a finisher. You're getting a player that can get involved in the build-up play. and he's very underrated in terms of his passing range as well. So for me, I
Mhm.
still feel like he can do. I feel like when when players leave, they just assume that they're kind of done, and then there's no like welcoming back for a player like that. But in this system, he'd do a great job for us. So yeah, I think
Mm.
Kane would be a good option. I just gone for Gyökeres. We highlighted this earlier. Me and G have a bit of reservations with Gyökeres. Good striker, don't get me wrong,
Mm.
but I just don't know in a Liverpool shirt if it would work. Eddie said Jota is the killer, needs to get his touch back though. He seems rusty. Yeah, it's due to
Yeah.
match fitness. He's not been playing a lot of games recently, so um, he looked a lot sharper in the Action Stanley game. Did a couple of cheeky nutmegs, which is always a joy to watch. So hopefully he's able to do more, and he's able to stay fit. I feel like we need to manage his games more importantly. So let's hope he's able to play in the next game. Finch says we need to sign Adriana from PS6. Tell me about it. That's a cheat code right there. 99 power. Yeah, you know the deal with that player
Him and
right there.
Etu, boy. If you had those two in your
Yeah,
team, it
all right,
was
Eto, you
it was
know what?
crazy.
Yeah, Eto was a
Because one
cheat
was
code.
left foot and one was right foot, so it was like
Yeah,
I could always score from like the halfway line and stuff like that. It was amazing.
Chelsea,
It was actually amazing.
Chelsea. Just play 4-4-2 again, isn't it? Just put both
Yeah,
of them
that's
up
what it
top.
is. It's 4-4-2. I can't even remember who was in midfield. I just know that it was those two up front. That's all I know.
After I think we were talking in terms of striker, R9. R9 for me is my favorite player of all time. So yeah, that's my guy
Hmm.
right there. Um, Nostalgia strikers. They listen. Me and Gio, same age group. Like the strikers that we watched, something else, man. And they weren't even like G said earlier on. Some of them that will like I'll shout names and he'll shout some strikers' names, and they might not be in the top 10 for a lot of people. But when you think about it, like you know what, he was cold, So
I,
that's the
you
level
got
that we saw in the pro football those days.
you got even if you just if you just brought it to the Premier League quickly, yeah, you
Yeah,
got players like Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. I don't even know where you would even rate someone like him, but he's a player that like
yeah.
wouldn't probably be spoken about in a top 10 type of striker. Or
No,
what's his name? Phillips for Sunderland.
oh, he was cold.
Like do you know what I'm saying? Like, and
Yeah,
and he wasn't obviously he won that year where he won the golden boot, but outside of that, like he wasn't a striker that not even in your top 20 people that you'd think about, like if you had to name all the best strikers of that you've ever seen. He wouldn't even be, you know what I mean, spoken about. But I'm telling you, man, these guys, some of these strikers that I think about from old school, oh my god, like they would be at least worth 200 million today, easily, very, very easily. It's crazy.
it's so true. And he's saying Cunha seems like he can go up levels with dribbling. Yeah, I guess in terms of dribbling, yes, but my only concern with Cunha is that I was aware of him before he joined Wolves, and he was in the Bundesliga. I think it was Hertha Berlin, and he was playing for Hoffenheim as well. So it was those clubs
Mm,
that he was playing for, but he wasn't prolific. If you look at his track record, he was never a prolific
mm,
striker because he didn't really play that role. Played as a number 10, or he played on the left wing. So for me, I, I don't know. I feel like this season could just be like a purple patch. So we
mm,
don't know if he's going to be that guy that's going to be consistently good the way he has been doing for Wolves. So I don't know. Good player. I do like the look of him, but for Liverpool, I feel like we've got different criteria when we're trying to sign strikers. So for me, it just doesn't fit the bill there.
mm,
Abdul says Rolls Royce is that getting now? That's the dream. That is the dream. Abdul's literally brought in quite a few players. There's Henry, Defoe, Drogba, Shearer, Rooney, Kane, Aguero, Cantona, Bergkamp, Cole, York, Nistelrooy, Wright, Vardy, Berbatov, Fowler, Haaland, Sheringham, Hasselbank, Torres, Suarez, and Ferdinand. Yeah, Les Ferdinand was kind of low key as well. So,
This is what I'm
you know,
saying. Like this, and some of these guys are not even in like obviously some of them are like top like five strikers, but some of these are not. You wouldn't even have put them in like top, maybe Premier League, but in a general sense, at that period of time when all of these strikers were playing, Berbatov and stuff like that, you wouldn't think about these guys as like top strikers in that sense. You'd more think of them as just yeah, they're really good at for that period of time. But
yeah.
today, oh my god, Vardy in his prime. Oh, I'll take that right now.
No, no, that is so true. But guys, G needs to go right now. So please, before I read the rest of the comments, please guys, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to his channel. And please support G as well. But G, I'll let you do the talking. G, firstly, thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate your time as always. This has
Bro,
been
it's
a
always
long
love,
time
man.
coming, so I'm glad we've done it
Hmm.
today. And I'm sure
Hmm.
it's one of many going forward. So please let the people know where to follow you on social, plug your channel, and let them know what you got going on this week as well.
First of all, it's been a pleasure. I even told Ozzy before I was gonna leave at like I said, no, no, no. I wanted to like
Yeah,
I was telling her in the back, I was like, no, 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 I'm talking like I wanted to continue like with having a good conversation. So nah man,
yeah,
big up Ozzy every single time. And as he said, man, like well, my channel, his channel, whatever. We need to
definitely.
do another show. Maybe heck, if you're free for the match reaction. I know timing sometimes because I do it so early in the morning.
Yeah, give me a
You
shot.
might I'll definitely give you a shout. But guys, what is it? Yeah, GTV football channel. Yeah, head on over there. Like I always say to people, listen, like the channel, don't like it, hit the like button, hit the dislike button, call me an idiot in the comments. I don't even care. Just engage with the comment, with the video, should I say, sorry, in some way,
Yeah,
shape, or form, because
yeah,
I don't think you guys even understand. Ozzy, he already knows because he does YouTube. Like it's mad when you think about it. I don't actually care how many people watch the video, but the
yeah,
reality is the more people hit the like button, I promise you, it just gets put into this weird algorithm and it just
yeah.
helps us. So, guys, just whatever, even if you're just passing through, make sure you hit a like on this video ASAP first and foremost, and then come over if you can and subscribe to the channel, man. But like I said, man, love again for having me on the stream, bro. Honestly, it was a good chat. It was a good chat.
Appreciate it, G. No, thank you for coming on, man. I'm sure we'll be doing more shows later in
Yes.
the season. Yeah, we'll get ends as well. We'll try and do like more people
Oh
on
yeah,
one
get
stream.
that fraud on it. Yeah, get that fraud on it. Get that fraud on it. Hey, yeah,
And
tell
we'll,
him I said that as well. Tell him get that fraud on
I'll
it.
let him know. But no, G, big up yourself as always. But yeah, I'm
Nah, I'm a
sure we'll
big
talk
up
about
man.
very soon. Have a good evening.
You too, man. See you later.
Cool. So that is G. Big up G as always. Please, guys, make sure you subscribe to his channel. Great support of my channel, of course. Great friend. And yeah, we've been meaning to do a show for quite a while. So yeah, I'm glad I've got him on the channel. And yeah, expect to see G make further appearances during the course of the season. So I will go through the rest of the comments and then yeah, we can chop up together, guys. So let's start. Where's the last comment there? Appreciate you guys sending a lot of comments today. Made it very, very engaging. Let's have a look. Trying to find where we left off now. Let's start with this one. So Finch says Darwin. Yeah, we already read that one. Um, I've just seen Oscar Carlos look like Darwin Nunes. Yeah, that's fair play. Um, that was the one. That was the one where Abdul mentioned all of these top strikers from back in the day. Yeah, that is nostalgic right there. All elite in my eyes. Some players probably didn't get the praise, I feel like Defoe was a killer in front of goal. He's a pure finisher, natural finisher. Um, but yeah, unfortunately, didn't really make it in terms of international football due to not being selected and England playing a certain way at the time. So yeah, never really got his flowers, unfortunately. But no, some top strikers there. Abdul saying, get the money for Darwin Nunes for 70 million, take it, invest in Isak 430 million. I'm all for it. That's why me and G were saying let's accept this offer because it could be reinvested in a player like Isak, who is my undisputed choice. G pretty much said the same thing as well. So there's not many strikers out there, and he's the one that looks like he's in scintillating form. So let's see. I can't really say with chest, but hopefully that is the caliber of striker that we're trying to sign in the short term future. As Steve said, obviously don't want to win the title. See, oh, it's clear. Yeah, I hope that's not the case. Finch says Davis would be a world class signer. I'm all for it as well. I know a lot of fans aren't with it for some reason. Maybe because he's a bit too attack minded. But look, for me in this system, I feel like he'd be fine. So I'm all for it. I would love to see him um, in a Liverpool shirt. But I'll be honest with you, I think he's destined for Real Madrid. That's just got that move written all over it. Free transfer. That's up their street, unfortunately. So we'll see. You never know. Um, Steve saying Dirk should be using deals to get Houston Kirk. So Dirk was mentioned as part of a potential deal for Semenyo, who I think is a good player. I do like into the how he plays, can play left wing or right wing, but he's not a player that we need. If a Chiesa wasn't, at Liverpool, for example, and we had that vacant space of someone being Salah's backup, then I wouldn't be too mad at that. I think that move would make sense where he's not a very high profile player, but at the same time, he's able to play at a very good level because he's accomplished in the Premier League. But for me, um, we'll see regarding Ben Doak. I know he's got a lot of interest from Palace and Ipswich Town. I think I think Palace made a 15 million bid. Liverpool want around 30 million, which I don't think is that wild in this day and age. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Uh, Ozan Kabak, yes, he plays centre back. Big up yourself. He says Stefanos Zimas. That's the name right there. So yeah, we linked with him. 19-year-old striker, plays for Nuremberg in Bundesliga 2, and he is available from what I've read around 20 million pounds, 25 million euros. So that's roughly 20 million pounds. So I don't know what to make of it. Honestly, I haven't seen him play, so I might have to check a YouTube compilation after the show and see what he's about. But a 19-year striker for me doesn't really tick my boxes right now in terms of what I want as my next striker because we've got Jalen Dan's similar age, similar profile. So wouldn't it be better to give him a chance rather than signing a striker like that? But I could be wrong. This guy could be the next big thing for all I know. So I haven't seen him play, so I can't really have a strong opinion about the player. But that's the current rumor, and apparently we've heard talks, and it's not for this month. It's a potential summer move. So looks like Richard Hughes forecasting everything on the summer. So let's see what happens. Steve says Davis Kimmich ain't on FSG menu. Why? Their wages too high. Yep. I think with Kimmich, probably his age as well in terms of that profile. But as G mentioned, I want to be successful right now. I don't need to look too far ahead. These kind of players here and there, they are game changers. So you can still buy your young up and coming strikers afterwards, but for now you got to buy players with experience and players that have won it all, and that will rub off the players in terms of the whole squad where you develop a winning mentality within the camp. So that's what you want when you sign these experienced players. But FSG might have other ideas. A decent FSG replacement for Trent is Walker Peters. Oh my god. No offense to Carl Walker Peters, but that is a huge downgrade that I would not like to envision. So no, no for me. A definite no for me. Uh, Finch stream said, "Boys, it's getting too late. I have to go to bed. Thanks for the stream. See you again. Big up yourself, Finch. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate your comments. Uh, Amrish, big up yourself, Amrish. He said they will play 4-5-1. They were trying to choke up midfield. That's not a bad shout. Me and G were trying to go through different lineups and different sort of potential setups. It could be a 4-5-1. It can be a 5-4-1. That's the way we're seeing it. I thought potentially with the players that we had in the lineup, I thought they might go for a 4-2-2-2, just because I don't feel like you kind of mentioned it, choke the midfield. I feel like they want to choke the whole middle of the park and then use Aina and Nico Williams as their, flying wing backs there. So for me, that could be done in sort of transitions or in certain parts of the game. Uh, but right now, it's a slight mystery only because they were the team that beat us early in the season, and it wasn't their traditional starting 11. They made a lot of changes to basically tailor a game plan against us, and it ended up working. So, will it be another 2.0 game plan? Who knows? We'll see in terms of what happens. C says I would like Arnold to play 4-5-1 counter attack. We'll see. You never know if Arnold, he might deploy different tactics for his fixtures to try and get one over them. Amish says, I think we will need combatants on the midfield, i.e., Endo and Sabozlai. So, yeah, for me, Sabozlai has to start. And I feel like Endo, even if he doesn't start the game, will be quite important to come on just to bring a different energy into the pitch, whether he's pressing further up or just being disrupted to their rhythm. He will certainly have some involvement in this game. Um, Ozan Kabak says Slot is going to pick Robertson. Yep, that's what me and G came to conclusion as well. I think he will, just due to the fact that he's rested him for a few days. So yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, he's had the week off exactly. He will play the player that did not play. Yep. So Cody, Gakpo, Diaz, they tick those boxes. So yeah, that's definitely the right move there. Amri says he might play Endo at centre back. It'll be depending on Kanate's fitness right now in terms of how he is. So let's see. I think because Kanate didn't play against Action Stanley, he should be raring to go for this fixture. So I think Kanate will get the nod. But let's say Kanate is not available, I would actually go with Endo rather than Kwanzaa. I don't think Kwanzaa actually had a bad game against Accrington Stanley. I think maybe some fans thought Endo was a lot superior. I actually think Kwanzaa improved as the game went on. So if he was to be selected, I wouldn't be mad at that. But I would rather just try and go for the strongest player. Play Konate for this one because I feel like this game has huge influence in terms of where we are on the table. And then when we've got the other game this week on Saturday, which is against Brentford away, maybe you can put Endo in the centre back position or play Quansah. I feel like Quansah could do a job there as well. So we'll have that discussion on Thursday when we do our match preview for that game. Amrish says Crab Macca, Mac and Gravy. That's a cool name there. Macca needs to score goals though. I don't think he needs to score goals, to be honest with you. As long as he's helping our midfield, as long as he's making things tick in the middle of the park, for me, that's his key asset there. That's what he's been signed for. I'm not too fussed about the goals. I let the other players, the advanced four, let them do that. Um, but yeah, I think for me, as long as he's able to really put his passing range on show, that is the key for me. That is the one that will really help us get the win. So for me, it all comes from how good Maka plays in this fixture. This away game was made for. So I was like, yep, his engine will be utilized. That's for sure. Sobo and Jones at 70 minutes. I can see that happening. Gap funding, that's for sure, 100%. Steve saying at Ozzie, Roma trying to sign Wrench from Ajax. Class young right back, just under 10 million. Yeah, he's a good player, to be fair. I haven't seen in terms of too much of him. Obviously, I've watched Ajax a couple of times this year, but I haven't watched too much of Wrench over the years. Because I feel like he was very highly regarded about 2, 3 years ago, but his stock hasn't risen since then. So I think that's more down to Ajax because he's been playing a lot of different roles. I know he's played left back at times. He was playing in the back three at one point as well. So that might be the reason why he hasn't developed to that next level. But he's been an interesting profile. The only thing is that with the uncertainty of Trent Alexander-Arnold's future at the club, if he was to come in to replace him, for me, that's underwhelming. And I don't really have huge faith for Conor Bradley to be the number one right back next season. I think for him, he needs to remain as the number two and challenge for that spot. But that doesn't mean he doesn't get any game time. It's not like he's going to be left out in the cold. He will play a lot of games as well. So for me, we need to sign an accomplished right back if Trent was to go. But touchwood, I'm hoping and praying that he stays at the club. So we'll see. Amir says Diaz does not play well at left wing anymore. I don't think he doesn't play well. I think he does play well in left wing. It's just that since we've moved him in a bit more centrally, I feel like he's had more influence in terms of the output. So he's been getting a lot more goals. He looks a bit more composed in terms of his finishing. On the left wing, he's doing a bit too much in terms of dribbling. I can overdo it at times if I'm being honest. But in the central position, he just looks like he's really enjoying that role. So, if he's enjoying it and he's benefiting the team, long may it continue. I would say we to beat Forest at City Ground. We do. We certainly do. Did G not watch the game? G said no, he didn't. He didn't watch the game, but we gave him sort of a breakdown of what happened. Steve said I would play 4-5-1. Jota on the left, gap through the middle. I wouldn't do. I would swap them around. If that was the two players that start for me, it'd be Gap on the left and Jota through the middle. I think that is more natural to both of their players' games, and I feel like the team would flourish with both players in those positions. Abdul's prediction is a 3-1 victory for the Reds. Ozan Kovac is going for a jammy 2-1. Liverpool, I'm all for that jammy 2-1. I don't really care how we win as long as we get the win. Um, every component fans want us to slip up. Yeah, we're the most hated right now. It is what it is. Look, Arsenal have been um, the joke of the town right now in terms of jokes because of what happened against Man United. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Um, we're always hated. We're hated by officials. We're hated by rival fans. We're hated by everyone. No one that's affiliated to Liverpool doesn't hate us. So it is what it is. Big up Double D. With a laughing comment there. Um, G sent G Factor bring more subscribers. Well, big up to G as well. G for me is gonna come on the show channel a lot more. Been a big fan of his, producing some great content on his channel. So yeah, for me, it's always right to collab with content creators like G, who very knowledgeable in terms of the game. He's got a good eye for talent as well. He does a lot of shows highlighting up and coming players, so definitely look out for those type of content, and always does interesting debates as well. So yeah, big fan of G. So yeah, glad to have G on the channel finally. So yeah, we'll be on the show a lot more this season. Steve saying, Ozzie starting Bozo Robbo. That's like playing with 10 men. We're going to based off what we think will be the lineup, and that's what Arsenal will do based on, you know, him being given the week off. So it makes sense for him to do that. Um, Mike Embigan says, hi everyone, but Fabrizio just on YouTube said talks regarding Nunes' move is still on 20 minutes ago. Oh, okay. I did read that before we went live, though. I read that it was the opening offer, and Michael Edwards has actually got involved to continue negotiating. So it's not like 70 take it or nothing. It's been, this is our bid. You know, what are we talking? What numbers are we talking? So negotiations are ongoing, apparently. So hey, look, if we're able to get anything of that region, I'll be very, very happy. But we'll see. He says, "Hi, everyone. Big up yourself, Mike." Um, Arsenal ready to bid 75. Arsenal, sorry, Arsenal ready to bid 75 million for Nunes. I doubt it. They can have him though. I'd drive him there. So yeah, if they want him, no problem at all. Abdul saying, Arsenal has nightmares of the Nottingham Forest game at Anfield. I want to win this game. This means more to us to win EPL. Yeah, I feel like if we win this game, of course, it puts us in a great position in terms of where we are in the league. But I feel like we might have a slight advantage because it's like Forest are our closest rival. Arsenal are going through their own turmoil right now. So some neutral fans might think, you know what, Liverpool will win the league this year. It might just solidify that opinion. But I'm gonna say the same old thing that players say on a weekly basis after they've been interviewed. We take it game by game. So I've already said we're gonna win the league. So I've put myself out there and said that we're gonna win the league. Um, so I'm not holding back on that. But I'm not getting too carried away in terms of us saying, yeah, it's going to be a walk in the park. We're going to face a lot of challenges with us being, involved in so many competitions. For me, the number one goal has to be to win the Premier League. I would love for us to get the Champions League as well. And the other cup competitions, it will just depend in terms of who we have in the squad, in terms of availability, and hopefully we can keep players injury free. So that would have an impact in terms of what our season will end. Ravi says Hato would cook for us. Yeah, that's the guy that I want. So yeah, I think he would as well. Um, Ravi says question: what does Dylan add to that Harvey does already? So that's an interesting point because they're very similar in terms of profile. I think if I was to do a comparison between the two, I think Dibbling is a lot more physical. He's a lot more stronger on the ball. He's quicker than Harvey Elliott. He's more tailor made to play that right wing position than Harvey. I feel like Harvey looks like a more of a natural number 10. But I just don't know if Arnslot sees him being that guy in that role because he hasn't played him that much. He even mentioned in the press conference earlier this morning that Harvey was probably expecting to play number 10, but he's had to play on the right wing. That's what he thought was the best position for him in that last game against Accrington Stanley. So the manager is aware of his qualities. Um, Also ironic that he's been linked to a move away from the club, which I don't think there's any truth to the rumours of Dortmund and Brighton registering interest in the player there. So, well, Debling, I do like him. It looks like a very good prospect, but not if we have Harvey. I think that's two similar players there. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Um, let's go through the comments there. Steve said if Arsenal had signed Kane instead of Rice, they would have won the title by now. They would not have been able to sign Kane. That would not have happened. Um, so Rice and City got players lined up. I hope not. That would definitely, be a game. I don't think they were in for the title anyway, but no, it depends who they get because it could be potential targets that we wanted to sign. So hopefully they don't. Hopefully they're being cautious and not spending the cash because of their 130k. It's not even 115 anymore. It's 130. So let's hope that plays a part in them not investing in the squad. And the final comment here is from Abdul. It says Real Madrid have pulling power with these free transfers. That's their strategy. You know, seek out who's on their last legs of their contract, and if they meet their profile, they're all for it. So that's why Trent and Davis were two players that they have probably highlighted for quite some time. And obviously with their current situation, no right back. And I think left back hasn't really been secured. They've got Ferland Mendy, but he hasn't really, taken that position or made it his own, to be fair. So that's why they're looking to get a player like Davis. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. But hopefully they don't take any Liverpool players. That's all I care about. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to G, of course, for coming on the show. Appreciate his time and appreciate him coming on the show. First time on the channel. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Um, Shout out to all of you guys that went through the comments in the chat today. So, Football with N, shout out to you, shout out to Steve, Daz, shout out to Nick, shout out to Ravi, shout out to Dora, shout out to who else do we have? Finch Streams LFC, big up yourself. Um, who else we have? Uh, Big up Eddie's Football Waffle. Make sure to subscribe to his channel as well. Big up to Amrish, big up yourself. Big up to Oz and Kabak. Obviously, it's not the real one, but yeah, big up yourself. And if I've missed anyone, shout out to you guys as well. So big up to everyone. Oh, and Double D as well, of course, and Mike. So big up to you guys. So yeah, thank you guys for so much for tuning in. Over 2 hours today. So hopefully you've enjoyed the content. In terms of upcoming shows, I will be doing a live watch along for this fixture. The kickoff time is 8 p.m. tomorrow, UK time. So I'll be live from 7:50 p.m. and then I'll also be doing a follow-up show after the game as a match reaction. It's also a calling show, so if you'd like to come on and have your say, a link will be pinned in the live chat. So feel free to come on. You don't need to have your camera on if you don't want to. Just come on, have your say, and yeah, express your views, whether it's good or bad. Open platform where we want to talk that talk, I guess. So yeah, feel free to come on. So that'll be tomorrow and then we'll have a match preview of Brentford versus Liverpool on Thursday. So yeah, lots of shows coming this way. So please make sure you hit that notification bell so you're notified what time those shows are taking place. Also follow me on social for all the latest updates, or if you want to engage with me on social, feel free to follow me at Ozzie.ftp on Instagram. You can also follow me at Ozzie_FTP on X/Twitter. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to speak to you all very, very soon. Goodbye.